Welcome to the Pocket PA workshop tutorial. This is designed to imagine that you had me sitting next to you and me doing a walkthrough to show you all the features in the Pocket PA app so that you can get completely familiar with what the app has to offer to transform your business. My name's Caroline and I made Pocket PA for my own daughter to help her to run her business on the go from her phone. But it's now available for everyone to use, and I want to show you how to transform the way that you run your business. It's really easy to understand. It's the app for people that don't do accounts, and it enables you to free up your time and make your business really work like clockwork. I hope it's simple and easy to use. It will be a start to finish tutorial here so that you can see exactly all the features that the app offers, but there are individual tutorials to be able to help you do things one by one if you want to look at things individually. So from the website, you can go on anywhere here where it says try it for free top right. And if you click on the button here, it's going to open a new screen to let you start your free 30-day trial just by entering in your information. So we're going to just enter some info here. You put your name in, we'll put in an email address where you're registered. And then you want to add a phone number here. So just put in your mobile where you can be reached at, and then you want to add a password. So I suggest that you enter your password and then you press this little I button on the right hand side to reveal your password, and you make a note of it somewhere, and if it's not quite right you just amend it. But this little I button helps you to reveal and see and double check. The password has got to be at least 8 characters long. It's got to have 1 capital letter and 1 number. So you then press the complete sign up, and from here you'll be taken into a few onboarding screens just to get you started if you want to do that. So let's get started. So the first thing that you need to do is to add a client into your database. You can skip any of these tutorials in the top right hand area just by pressing the skip button, but by clicking the add client, this is going to take you straight into the add new client screen. So what you'll need to do for any client is you do have to have a first name and a mobile number. Those are the only 2 things that you have to fill in. But obviously if you have an address for them, a last name and an email address, which is really handy for if you want to do any email campaigns or send them email reminders, then you can make a note of that here. So we're going to just put in here the first name, and we're going to put in a phone number, and you'll see that that's then correct number and it's marked as a mobile number, so you just press the save button here. Let's put in an email address at the same time so that we can send them an email, and let's just put in an address at this point so that we've got an opportunity to be able to book them an appointment in a moment when we come to that stage. So we've got a little postcode here, and then we're going to press the save button here, and that is a new client that's all been successfully saved. So as I say, you just need a first name and a phone number to save any client. So the next thing that you'll do, you'll see that you're in a service. So we're going to add a service here, and we're going to put the first service name in, and we'll call it a haircut. And we're going to say how long the appointment lasts for. So you'll see that there's a clock on the right hand side for the duration of the appointment. So if you click on that button there, you'll be presented with a time picker button. So we're going to go and choose it to be 1 hour. So we're going to choose the 1, and then we go into the minutes, and we're going to choose the 00, so that gives us 1 hour. If it was 1 hour 30, we would choose the 30 button there, but we're just choosing 1 hour here. And if you want to go back and change the hours, you can go round and choose anything up to 23 hours. So it's 1 hour, 100, and then you press the done button. And then the cost is what you're going to enter in here. So we're going to put the price in here of £25 for the haircut. And then on the right hand side, you're going to choose a colour to allocate to your service. Now, depending on the colours that you choose, this will sort of dictate what your appointments look like in your diary. So we're going to choose the haircut to be a green appointment, and there's obviously an option here to put in any notes. So let's save that, and you've now got your client and your service both created successfully. And so the last option here in the onboarding screen is to add an appointment. So in order to be able to add an appointment, you need to have 1 client and 1 service, because client plus service equals an appointment. So we can now create a new appointment. And the first thing that we'll do in the top left is to choose the date of the appointment. So we're going to make it for tomorrow, Friday the 28th, and then we're going to choose a time, and we're going to pick 12 o'clock, and that's PM, and then we press the done button. After that, we're going to choose a service. We've got a drop down here, and at the moment we've only got one service in there, so that's the haircut. You do have the option to be able to press the plus button and create a new service at this point, but for ease we're just going to click on the haircut, and then we're going over on the right hand side to choose the client. Again, we've got one client in from the drop down, but we could add a new client by pressing the plus button. So we're going to add Susie in for our client. You can see that we've got a £25 appointment booked now, and we've got to select a location where we're going to be seeing this client. So we'll go in here and pick their address, which we already registered on under Susie's details. So it's not a recurring appointment at this point. We're just clicking on making one appointment on Friday the 28th at 12 o'clock for a haircut, £25 with Susie, and we're seeing them at 1 High Street. So we press the save button, and the appointment's now been created successfully, and we've completed the onboarding sequence, and we've done the client, service and an appointment, and we can then press the finish button here to go into the first look of your Pocket PA dashboard screen. So we've now created our first client, appointment and service, and the next thing I want to do is just to add a couple more services into the services area. So you'll see on the left hand side there's a services button, and if you open that and press that, you're going to come into the services screen. Once you're in services, you have the option to either be able to click on the bottom right to add a new service, or we've got a plus button in the top right hand side which enables you to be able to very quickly and easily go into this menu here where you can add any of these options here for the new. So if we click on the button here for new service, you'll see that we're presented with that same add new service. We're just inside the Pocket PA dashboard. So we can add here, for example, highlights for your hair, and we can do a full head here, and we can make that into a 2-hour appointment. So we check on the 2-hour time picker, and we're going to charge £60 for that appointment, and we're going to give that a purple colour, and we're going to press the save button here. So we're going to now have had 2 services that are created successfully, and we're just going to pop another couple in here. So plus button on the bottom right, adding a new service, and we're going to just put, for example, a lash tint, and we're going to say that that takes 15, say we'll make that 20 minutes, I think. So we'll go into the minutes part and we'll choose 20 minutes, press the done button, and we're going to charge £6.50 for that service, and we're going to put that in pink. Okay, so we've now saved 3 services, and on your service screen you'll be able to see that you've got all 3 listed in different colours. So what we want to do now is we're going to start adding appointments into the diary so that you can start to see how a diary view would build into your appointments area. So if you go into your appointment here, you'll see in the onboarding series we made that appointment for a haircut on the Friday, and you'll see that today's date is showing up in a yellow colour, the 27th, and what we're going to do is we're just going to put in a couple more appointments into the diary so that you can see exactly what they look like. So if we want to put in an appointment here on Monday the 10th, we'll click on this button bottom right to be able to add a new appointment. There's 2 options here, a private appointment or a new appointment. A private appointment just basically means one that's not going to be filled with a service. So that could be where you're picking the kids up from school, or a dental appointment, a hospital appointment, a lunch date, anything that's not work related and where you're going to be earning money. So you can put new private appointments into your diary by clicking on this button here. If it's a regular new work appointment, you can select the new appointment from the bottom right, or alternatively, if you press your plus button in the top right, you can go to the very first option on the left hand side that says appointment. So let's click on that appointment there, and we're going to click on the Monday booking. So we've got Monday, and we're going to put a 10 o'clock appointment. So on the time picker we choose 10, 0, and it's going to be an AM appointment, and then the done button. And this time we're going to choose a highlights appointment. So that was a 2-hour appointment at £60, and we're going to just add in our client here and the address. So we're going to just put in the appointment here and the address, and then press the save button. So we've now got an appointment here for highlights, and you'll see that that's gone straight into the diary in the same week as our other appointment. And just to note that if you click over that appointment, it will hover over it and it will give you the full information for that 10 o'clock appointment at the address, who you're seeing, it's for highlights, and you'll see that it's unpaid at the moment at £60. By clicking on the details button, this will open up the appointment screen and give you all of this information and give you a little view of the map so that you can actually see the location. And you'll notice that the client's name is at the top, and that's in green. So that means it's a clickable link if it's in green, and you can click directly onto that to go into this client, Susie, and be able to call her, send her an SMS message or send her an email, as long as you've got a phone number and an email listed in here. It's got her billing address here, and then on the left hand side it's got a list of all of her appointments that she's got showing for this month view. You can also look at her week view, or you can look at the month view, or you can look at the year view, and you can scroll backwards and forwards between different months, etc., by pressing the arrow buttons here. So when you're in the month view, you're looking at this tab here, which is highlighted in green, and you'll see that you've got 2 appointments with Susie. If you click on the payments tab, it'll see that there's no payments listed at the moment. The sales tab shows that you haven't sold anything to her yet, and you'll see that the invoices is also empty, so there's nothing that has been invoiced to her. So you can look at this, as I say, between week, month and year view, and if we're looking on the month view at the moment under appointments, we can see all of her appointments. They're pending appointments because she's not yet attended, and they're also showing as unpaid. But once you've collected the money and you've marked it in as paid, this will then go to a green paid dot, and then once you've marked them in as attended, this will also change to an attended status. So this service gives you a list view of exactly what treatment or service you've actually delivered when they came in. And by clicking back on this green clickable link, you can go back into the appointment view, which is where we were at before. So let's head back into, as I say, this is the client view, but going back into the diary, we'll now add another appointment into here. So we're going to go into the plus button and add, let's do a private appointment this time. So we're going to put the doctor's appointment in here, and we're going to put that in on, let's choose a date first. So we'll put that in on Monday, and we're going to do that at 5:30. So we're going to choose the 5:30 p.m. done, and then there is an option to put an address, but most people know where their doctors are, so you don't need to add that in. And then you choose the length of time of the appointment, and I don't know about your doctors, but mine usually are always running late, so I always like to leave at least 30 minutes for a doctor's appointment. So by putting that 30 in here, we're not going to choose the recurring option, but if it was a repeat appointment that you've got with a doctor, you can select this recurring option and then choose the date that you want it to end. But we're just going to make this as a one-off appointment for 5:30 on Monday the 24th, and we're going to then save the appointment there. Gives a confirmation message that the appointment has been saved successfully, and when you go back into your diary, you'll see that that 5:30 a doctor's appointment is showing up in a dark grey. So private appointments are always in a dark grey colour, and you'll see them dotted around your diary if you put them in, and they'll stand out as a different colour to your regular appointments. So we've added a private appointment there, we've got 2 other paying appointments, and now we're going to add another appointment, and we're going to just show you what it looks like if we make it recurring. So we're going to have a recurring appointment that's going to happen each day from Monday the 24th, and we're going to put that recurring appointment in at 4 o'clock each day, and we'll put that into PM. And then we've got our option of our services showing here, but we're going to add a new service directly from this plus button. So it's a service that we don't already have. So we're going to add a new service here, and let's see what we can put in here. Let's do a wax appointment, and that's going to be a half-hour appointment. So we click on the minutes button, we press the 30 done, and the wax appointment is going to be £10, and we're going to give that a pink colour. So we're going to press that save button. So we've now got the service that has been created successfully whilst we're making the new appointment. And then we're going to add our client in here. Again, you could add a brand new client by pressing this plus button. So we've got our client, we're going to put their address in, and we're now going to make this a recurring appointment starting on Monday at 4 o'clock, and we're going to give them well, I don't suppose we'd give them a daily wax, but let's do that for our example. And we're going to end the daily wax on the 28th. Perhaps we're waxing a different body part each day. So we'll press that save button, and that's going to now do a recurring appointment for this client, Susie, to have a wax on a daily basis for this week. And this will show up in your diary each day at 4 o'clock for that half-hour slot. If you need to change one, these are all drag and droppable, I think that's the word. So you can move these around and just change the actual time. As long as you've got an amount of time in order to be able to put them into the slot, these can all be moved around. So we've just shown there that that's all been swapped around. If you need to edit any of the appointments, if you click on here and you go to the details screen, under the More Options button in the bottom right, you can actually go in here to edit, and then you can change either the date or the time, etc., or even the client, but I'm presuming that this is a sequence. And if you go back into here and you want to actually delete one of these out, you can click on the details button, press the More Options, and then just press the delete button. You can choose to only delete this event, or if there were future events, you can actually choose all appointment dates after this event, but this is just one event, and we're going to select that and we're going to delete it, and therefore we've now lost that Friday appointment. So Susie's only got 4 waxes now through the week on this week, beginning the 24th of February. So that's an overview of how you add appointments directly into your diary. And if you go onto the dashboard, you'll also be able to see the diary from this view further down at the bottom on the month view, on the week view. And you'll see that all of these appointments that we've entered into the diary, because they've all got a cost to them, this is £25, £10, £10, £10, 10 and £60. And the total value of all of these appointments that are currently in your diary will be shown up and reflected in your expected income due for this week. So you've got a total of £125 worth of appointments all booked in currently into your diary. And you'll notice that the red line here, still to pay, shows that £125 is outstanding against all of those appointments, because so far paid to date is showing a 0, and the actual value of the appointments of £125 is what's still got left to pay. So we're back onto the dashboard here, and whilst we're on the dashboard, let's just do a little overview excuse me, on the summary information that you've got showing here. So you've got 6 very clear boxes which will give you the overall information that you need to be able to understand and get really on top of your business. All of these are customizable, so you can choose which boxes you have showing. So if, for example, you don't ever send any invoices or you don't have any sales, you could remove these 2 boxes on the right hand side. Some people just like to see their income and their expenses, other people like to keep on track of their appointments, and other people just like to have all 6 showing because they do something in each of those categories. So the first box here is the summary box, and it gives you an overview of how many clients, how many services and how many products you've got listed in your database. So here we're showing 1 client, 4 services and no products yet. We haven't listed any products. And any of these are all clickable. So if you click on this word client, it will take you directly into the client screen and you'll be able to see your client list. Going back from the dashboard here, you can click onto the services button and that will list your services out, and so on. So any of these appointments, income, expenses, invoices and sales will take you as a very quick link and shortcut into any of these screens that are showing on the left hand side. So it's very easy to navigate and go around in the Pocket PA app. So you've got 6 appointments now that we've got showing at the moment under our calendar. We've only put them in for this week, but the buttons at the top here will also show numbers in brackets, and the ones in brackets always relate to what appointments you had last week or last month. So we had 6 appointments this week but none last week, and the same for appointments this month. And then as we start to collect income, these boxes will reflect how much income you've got showing this week compared to last, this month compared to last, and this year compared to last. And this all relates the same with expenses. Under this invoices box, it shows you how many invoices you might have sent out which are actually still outstanding and due for payment. So for example, you might have sent out 4 invoices and they might total £200. So you would see a number 4 due for payment and 200 due for payment, which means that that's money that's owed to you, and you should always be aware of that because that will need chasing. That will be money that you need to be collecting and be aware of. So that's a quick way to be able to get an overview of that. Over on the right hand side, it talks about your sales, and again this shows you how many sales you've made this week, the value of them compared to last week, this month compared to last month, and this year compared to last year, so that you can just keep on top and keep measuring, because you can't manage what you don't measure. So it's really important that you have an overview of exactly what's going on in all of these areas. This box on this top left area, this relates to your expected income due. So at the moment we've got £125 worth of appointments and sales booked in, and that means that if everybody comes this week, then your income should equate to £125. I've already explained that the paid to date is showing at 0 at the moment, but as we start to fill up and collect this money, this dial will get greener and greener, and we're going to add some payments in a moment so that you can see exactly how that works. Under this still to pay button, this is actually a clickable link. It's red because it means the money's still outstanding, but it is clickable. So if you click at any one time on this button here, still to pay, this is going to take you very quickly to a list of all the clients that owe you money or any sales that are still outstanding and haven't been paid. So let's click on that button now, and that's going to take us immediately into this screen and show you a list of all of the unpaid appointments, the date of the appointment, who the appointment is with, how much is outstanding, what the service was that was delivered or given, and the fact that the unpaid status is showing on the right hand side, and then it'll give you this total of how much is due. So it might be that you take a part payment or a deposit, so on the right hand side it might actually say perhaps £15 left to pay, or £5 or £30, whatever it is. It will show you in this right hand side exactly what is left to pay, and if the full amount is outstanding then it will be shown as fully unpaid. So you've got £125 of appointments that are unpaid. At the moment we haven't added in any unpaid sales, but if you'd only taken a deposit for a product sale, then this will also show up here. So the total amount of unpaid appointments and sales will be listed under these 2 columns here, and as I say, you'll reach that from the dashboard or the income screen by pressing on this red still to pay button to very quickly and easily tell you exactly who still owes you money. So this is the expected income due dial, and you can look at it per week, or you can have a look at it per month, or you can have a look at it per year. Obviously we've only just put in a few appointments this week at the moment, but it's likely that these will all be growing amounts, so you'll have a bigger amount in your month compared to your week, and then your year will be your gross overall amount that you've collected for the year to date. So this is your income part. The next area relates to business expenses, and we'll move on to business expenses a little bit later in this tutorial. But the business expenses are all shown on here, and these will be in a graph format, and you'll see this build once we start to enter some business expenses. And again, it shows it in a week, a month or a year status, so that you can have a look and toggle between the two. So this shows all the days of the month, and then this one shows all the months of the year. So you'll be able to see where your peaks and troughs are for what you might be spending. This last dial over here on the right is your net income, and this is where the magic happens. So this is accumulation of all of your income coming in and all of your business expenses, and it will be showing in this net income dial, and we'll come back to this in a little bit once we've added in some income and inputted some business expenses, because you'll be able to see very clearly exactly how this works and how the income and the expenses will be added together, and hopefully this amount in the middle will be quite nice and healthy, because this is the amount that you'll be having left. This is effectively your profit, and you want to be keeping a very close eye on this all of the time to be able to check that you're running a financially healthy business. And this is very quick and easy for you to be able to understand your numbers just by looking at this dial in your dashboard. And in the client screen, we've already made one client here, Susie, and so you'll see that there are all the columns here showing Susie's name. We can add a surname for Susie. This is her email address that we entered in at the beginning. We've got her mobile number here, and then this shows how many appointments she's got, how many payments she's made, sales and invoices. And what we're going to do is we're going to add another new client now. So we're going to add in a client here. So we're going to put in a client with a surname this time, and then we're going to just give them a mobile number there, and we're going to put in an email address. And then you'll notice at the bottom we've got the option to add an attachment. So when you add an attachment, if you click on the plus button, it will give you the option to add something in your computer. So we'll go to the desktop, and we're going to add in, for example, you might have a consent form or something of that nature. So if you click on this button here and you press the open, it will add a form on, and you can add, as I say, up to 2 forms, and they will just be attached to the client instead of needing to save them in your photos or somewhere on your phone. And then you can replace them or delete them or whatever, or print them off at any time. So they're stored with the client, and then you press the save button. You've also got the ability to add in an address. You can add a second address here or a third address, so up to 3 addresses, and you can select if it's a billing address that you might want to show on an invoice or not. And there's an option here to add in a birthday, a date, month or year, and there's also a section here to be able to add notes if there's anything pertinent just to that client. You've also got the ability to add a photograph here, so you can add a picture. Oh, that's a picture of a lady. I'm not sure that would necessarily be John. Let's call it Jane. That feels better already. Okay, so we've got a picture here, and then you'll effectively just press the save button, and the client has been saved successfully into the database, and you'll see now that you've got 2 clients listed here, one with the photo that we've added and one without. If you want to edit any of the details, you can just go in here, click on the person's name, and then in the bottom right under more options you'll go to the edit area here. So we're now going to change the email address, for example. Here we've changed that. You might want to add a new phone number directly into this client if they've got 2 mobile numbers. And if you want to have a different number showing as the preferred number, if you're doing SMS reminders, you'll select it here, or you'll be able to choose which one you want to select on your preference. So you'll press the update button there, and you've got it effectively saved now as your SMS number, and that one's showing as the bottom one, which is the one which will be going to be sent the SMS reminders. When you've got a list of all of your clients here, you'll be able to select any of these columns here to be able to click on them. Where you can see these 2 little up and down arrows, that means that these columns are sortable. So if you click at the top here, you'll be able to sort all your clients to show who has got the highest and the lowest number of appointments. Obviously we've only got 2 here, so it's just sorting between 2. But if you want to look through all of your clients, you would show all of your clients here, and that will give you all of your database list, and then you can sort them who's your highest or lowest appointment clients, who pays the most appointments, who has the most sales, and who you send the most invoices to. So that's a really handy feature to be able to sort all of your data. And the other thing, you can search up here in the search part here by putting their email address or a mobile number or a name, and you can also export all of your client database into an Excel, PDF or CSV. So that would enable you to integrate it into a mailing system. For example, you might have MailChimp or Aweber, GetResponse, one of these mailing systems where you do email marketing. So you can export all of your data and then import it into another software package if you want to do some other marketing activities. So everything is exportable just by pressing this export button at the top here. So that's the client section area on the Pocket PA app. So going back here from the dashboard, you'll be able to see your 2 clients. As I say, you just click on that summary and that will take you directly into your clients. So one of the other things I just wanted to mention about the clients is that you may have some other software that you want to import your client database from, and you can create your clients and import them directly into your client system by going on the account setup. So you can reach account setup by either the drop down on the top right which says account setup, or on the bottom left area where it says account settings. If you click on the account settings, it will take you into the account setup screen, and in the bottom right area under helpful tools it will enable you to import clients. So once you're in the helpful tools area, there is a download here of a template, how the format will be needing to show in order for you to import your clients in. So once you've downloaded this, as long as you have a first name and a phone number, a mobile number or a phone number for the client, it will enable you to import clients directly into your Pocket PA app. It doesn't matter if you're missing a last name, email, any of these other information, but obviously the more you have of this info, it will populate directly into your client area. But just to say, it needs to be an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV, and it's very important that you just have the first name and a phone number listed, and the top area of each of the fields need to be exactly in this format. So as I say, if you download this template here and copy it exactly, then it will import successfully. And the maximum number of clients you can import at any one time is 250 per import. So if you have 500 or more, whatever, you'll need to do it in a couple of batches. So in order to import a spreadsheet in, you will just click on the import button, and then you'll go to the location in your computer where you've got the information. So we'll click on this one here because I know that this is a spreadsheet that I've already got and has made with the information. So just clicking and highlighting there and pressing the open, that will import directly into your client area. It'll give you a success message, and then open your client list here, and you'll be able to see a list of all of your clients that have all gone into your database and have already pre-populated that information. So when you click on this client now, you'll see that their profile is already all filled in, and if you want to edit, bottom right you click on the edit button and you can supplement and add any additional information here that you want to add on, add attachments, etc., and then you press the update button. So that's a quick way for you to be able to import clients if you have another software system and you want to bring them directly into your database. In addition, you can also do it through the Pocket PA Helper app, and I'll come on to the Helper app a little bit later, but you can import clients directly from your phone contacts into the Helper app, and they will sync directly into your client area here, and that's the point of the Helper app, to allow a quick interface to be able to import clients that are already in your contact list. So this is the client area showing in your Pocket PA app. So the next area I want to show you is to go into the product and sales area. So on the left hand side you'll see product and sales as the fifth option down, and on the top right hand side you've also got the option here to be able to add a product or a sale directly into the app using the plus button at the top. So if I click on the product and sales area, the very first time you open it, you'll see that the first tab is related to sales and the second is related to products. So in order to have a sale, you need to have products. You can't sell anything without having a list of products. So you click on the product tab and you go to add products. And the first thing that you might want to do is to add a photograph. If you're on your mobile phone, you can take the phone with your camera, but if not, you might have a picture of your item that you want to sell already saved on your computer. So by pressing the camera button, you'll go into find your folder where you might have a picture. So we're going to put this picture here, and we've got a photo of a red t-shirt, which we're unsurprisingly going to call a red t-shirt. And then you add the price in over here, which we're going to have a £10 price tag, and then we're going to have a description here, and you'll enter that into your description box, and then it's literally just a matter of pressing the save button, and it's that quick to add your products in. So you'll then go back into the tabs and you'll see there that your red t-shirt is added, the description shows here, and your price band here. You can add more products bottom right by just going to add new product. we're going to add a couple more things in here. So we're going to put the blue t-shirt in now. So we'll add the blue one, and we'll call that, unsurprisingly, a blue t-shirt. And this one's a little bit more expensive, so we're going to put this one in at £12 because this is a higher quality one. And then we've got dark blue round neck t-shirt, and then we're just pressing that save button. Product is saved successfully, showing under here. And then the top right is the other way that you can add a new product. So top right, add a new product, and we're going to be adding in here our yellow t-shirt. So we press the open button here, add in our product name, and we're going to put, whoops, got that wrong, and then we're going to put that price in here, and that one's going to sell out at £8. So that's going to be round neck yellow t-shirt. There we are. So we've got that saved. So we've got our 3 products all saved now successfully here under our product list. And if you notice, you can sort the products out by alphabetical name, or you can do it by description, or you can do it by price. So you can do it from your highest to your lowest price items by switching around here. The other thing that you'll be wanting to do in this module is the sales. And if you want to create a sale, you can either click on the create sale in the center, you can click on the button bottom right to add a new sale, or you can go to the top button here to be able to add a new sale directly into the plus button here. So let's add a sale here. And the first thing that you'll want to do is to choose the product. So if you go to the drop down, you'll have a list of all of your items that you've entered in as your products. If you want to add a new one which hasn't been created before, you can press the plus button, and that will take you straight into the create new product. So we're going to presume that we're adding an existing product. So we're going to add a yellow t-shirt, which is an £8 item. And then we've got the option to be able to allocate it to a client. If you're working out of a store or something like that, you might not want to allocate it and take the person's name who you're selling it to, because you're frequently selling items that you don't collect data for or want to allocate to a client. So you don't need to choose anybody from the drop down if it's not a specific person in your client list. But I would suggest that if you're selling it items from a number of different places, it's quite good to categorize them. So if you sell out of 2 or 3 shops, I would create the different shops under a client name so that you can allocate different sales to a particular shop, and then you'll be able to see all of the sales that you make out of a particular spot that you sell from. Also, if you do craft fairs or that sort of thing, you might want to label different events or market days that you do under every different client so that you can allocate those sales. So we're not going to allocate this sale to a particular client on this occasion, but we've got an £8 amount here. You've got the ability to add more than one item here, and obviously it increases the price accordingly depending on the quantity you choose. And then this is the date of the sale, so it automatically chooses today's date, but you can go in and choose any other date that you actually got the sale in, but today's date is showing on here by default. And then you've got the ability here to choose how it's been paid for and how the client is actually making the transaction. So for this one, we're going to be taking cash, and then we're going to press that save button in a moment. Just one other feature here, it might be that you offer a discount scheme, and we're going to set up discounts in a moment when we go to the account settings to customize your app. But if you had a discount set up, you can choose that here and add the discount, and that will automatically be applied and show the discounted amount in the top right box. So for this example, for this sale, we're selling a yellow t-shirt for £8, and we're not allocating it to a particular client, and we're just going to register this cash payment, and we're going to save the payment here. And so once we've pressed that and got the success message, it will show as a sale here on Thursday, and the yellow t-shirt, it hasn't been allocated to a specific client. One t-shirt was sold, paid cash, it's all been paid in full, £8, and it's been collected. So clicking on that yellow t-shirt shows the details of the sale, and if you hadn't collected a full payment, so if you had just taken a deposit, it would show here the total amount of the sale, and it would just show the part payment here. And if every time you make a payment against this sale, it will get listed in a date order underneath, so that you can see from the original date of the sale and every payment that's been made against it. If you had only got a part payment here, you could always add a subsequent payment by just clicking on the add payment. If you need to edit anything to do with the sale, you would just click the edit, and then you can adjust anything. If you wanted to allocate it to a client and you now wanted to say that it was actually sold to someone that you knew, you can just allocate it there and press the save button. And then that will now show up as the client under Bill. And if you go to Bill's profile here, you'll be able to see that under his name and client profile, he's now got a yellow t-shirt to his name to show that he paid cash on the 27th of February for his yellow t-shirt, and it's all been paid in full. So that's our first entry of a payment and an income into our system under the sales area. So if we go back into the dashboard now, you'll see that we've got a grand sum of £8 that's been paid for our t-shirt, and you'll see that the dial has started to go green because we've collected some money, and that's super exciting because it's also increased our appointments and sales up to £133 because we've added that £8 sale on, but we've still got £125 of outstanding appointments due to be paid. You'll also notice that on the right hand side we've now got a fully green income dial because we've got income of £8, no expenses have been paid out yet, so our total balance to ourselves is £8, which is our profit at the moment running for this week. So nothing's any different in the appointments diary yet because we haven't added any payments in here. So all of that income has come from this sale showing here for £8. And if we now move into the income and payment screen, you'll be able to see the same information from the dashboard is now showing here on the expected income due. And we've got that £8 which has started to inch our green dial around for this week's money showing. So that's from our sales made of £8. So we're now into the income and payments screen, and we're going to go into more detail now. And so what I think the best thing is to do is to add some payments in for our appointments that we've got going on in our appointment diary, because that will start to then put some money onto the income dial, and we'll be able to understand the income area a little bit better. So we're going to go into these appointment payments, and we're going to show what happens when you add some income into this area here under appointments. But the first thing that might be better to do is just go to the account settings and just double check that we've got the income payments and things all set up exactly as you want them to be. So under the account settings and the sales and invoice setup and the payment method and currency online, you want to just check that your selected currency is correct and you're on UK pounds. The other options are dollars and euros, so by default it's selected to pounds. And then under these options here, you want to check which options you want to show when you add a payment. So if you want to perhaps show that you've received a payment by PayPal, you can keep these on. If you accept payments by bank transfer or cash, you may not accept a cheque, in which case you can switch that off. And again, you may not accept a gift voucher or do a gift voucher system. So you would press that Save Changes button to ensure that you've got the exact payment options that you receive. If you want to accept card payments, that will automatically be switched off when you begin. And in order to switch this on and take card payments, by switching it on, it will tell you that you need to connect us to a Stripe account, which we are going to do shortly, but I'll just show you where you would go. You would go to the Connect Stripe account, which takes you into this module here of the sales and invoice setup, and you would be asked to connect a Stripe account to accept payments, and we'll go through that in a moment when we get to the invoicing module, but that's just to give you a heads up. Under the payment method, you can't switch on the card payment until that Stripe is set up. So coming back out of here, this is where the discount area gets filled in. And you can create a discount by pressing this button for the first one, or after that you can press this button here to add a new discount. And the first thing that you'll be asked to do is to enter the discount name. So for example, you might offer a student discount, and then it will ask you to enter either a percentage here, or you can choose a fixed amount here. So that would be an actual physical amount, for example £5, and you would just enter that monetary amount in there. Or if you want to offer a percentage off of each treatment or each service that you offer, or off sales, you would then be able to enter in. So for example, if you entered a 10% discount on your services, you would tick this button here, and if you want to do it for sales as well, then you'll check that box there. And then by pressing the save, that will successfully be saved, and your discount will be created and show up in your discount area here under the sales and invoice setup discount type, and it'll show you've got a student discount giving 10% off on both sales and services, and that's the date that you created it. So you can enter in as many discounts as you want in this area here, and they will then show up when you add a sale or an appointment. So this is the payment and the currency options under the sales setup, and again, as I said, this is the Stripe. This is where you'll connect to your Stripe account if you want to be able to take card payments, and we'll do that shortly. So with regards to going back into the appointments, we were looking to add a payment here. So we're going to go into the appointment by clicking on that appointment, and you can click on any one here and just press the details button, and that will enable you to go straight into this appointment here, and it'll show that £60 is due and it's unpaid. And so we're going to update this status here from a pending appointment to an attended appointment. And if you change it to attended or to cancelled, you need to update the status, and then it will give you a success message to say that the appointment has been successfully updated. We're then going to add a payment directly into this appointment. From here you can go to a directions button if you're actually driving to the address here, and by pressing on the directions it will take you into Google Maps, and it will show you your current location and the location to where you want to get to, so it works as a mini sat nav. You can also use the Helper app, which is downloadable from the Apple iTunes Store or the Google Play Store, and from your appointments that are synced into your app there, the Helper app, it will also have a directions button, and that integrates with Google or Maps or Waze, and again you can get directions between appointments using the Helper app. So in this area here we've got the directions button. The more options is the edit or delete, or we've got the option here to be able to send an invoice, but we're just going to be adding a direct payment into this, and by pressing the add payment button it will give you the today's date, but you can amend that if you want to give a previous date, but at the moment it's on today's date. It will give the client's name here, which you can also make an adjustment for, but this appointment is directly for this client. It gives the appointment that you've just come from into this area here, but all of the other appointments where payments are due will also be showing in the drop down. And then we've got the £60 amount, which is the amount for this service which is still outstanding, and that shows here as the total amount and the remaining amount. Now you've already selected your options, which you have said that you accept payment methods by cash, bank transfer and PayPal. If you don't want to accept the full £60, say for example we're just taking a part payment at this point, you can enter it into here, or you can scroll up and down using these buttons here. So we've got a £40 part payment, and we're going to press the save button, and that's going to confirm that your appointment payment's successfully been created. And when you go back into this appointment showing here, you'll see that of this £60 appointment you've got £20 left to pay on this payment. So this is showing in amber, this is in orange. So you'll then be able to go into this client's name, because this green indicates that it's clickable. So going into this client Susie here, you'll see that for the month of February that she's got 6 appointments, and she's just registered this first one a payment. So you'll see against this one here, we've got it now marked as attended. We changed that from pending to attended, and of this £60 appointment we've got £20 left to pay. So if you then move on to the tab here, the payments tab, you'll see that 27th of February £40 payment paid by cash against a highlights, full head of highlights, has now been paid. So it's very simple for you to be able to track her payments and appointments. So if we then go into here, you'll be able to see the payment details, and if you need to amend it or delete it, you can then do that quickly and easily under the more options. If you want to go back into the appointment and add a subsequent payment, another payment to pay that last amount in full, you can go directly into this appointment here and add another payment here. It'll know that it's only got £20 left to pay. So that's how you add additional payments onto existing appointments. So all of these are clickable for you to add a direct payment in. You can add also a payment using this, a new appointment, adding this button here. If you go into payments here, you can register a new sales payment or an appointment payment. You can go into sales here, this tab, and you can add a new sale directly in here, and from invoices here you can add a new invoice directly from this button. So this was all about the income and payments, and so once you go back into this dial, this will be represented here, this expected income due, which is under income and payments, and it will show exactly the same information here as it does onto your dashboard area. So you'll see now we've got 133 in the middle, and you'll see that paid to date has now gone up to £48, with the still to pay has reduced down to 85. Now we've made that additional £40 payment against that appointment. So under the income screen, which is where we're looking at the moment, you'll see that we've got £125 of appointments booked in, £8 of sales have been made, and we've had £48 of payments received to date. So this dial is getting greener and greener, it's starting to creep around, and we've got £85 still left to pay, which is what this grey area represents. So we've had a couple of payments here, and you'll be able to see those shown on the graph, and they're split between sales payments and appointment payments. And then if you go further down here, you'll see that you've got two tabs. One is appointment payments and the other is sales payments. So all of your income is split into these two, income received from appointments and that received from sales. And you'll be able to see the exact corresponding payments, who it relates to, how much has been paid, the payment method, etc., all showing at the bottom, and it gives us a total as well that can be added together. So the total sales payments and the total appointment payments will add together to show up your total paid to date. You might notice that you've also got a toggle button here which is switched off, and if you click that on, it will give you information about all of your income money that's been coming in. So this here, this first column tells you all about your payments. This column here tells you all about your money which is still left to pay, and then this last column here tells you about monies that you've received for any cancelled appointments, which won't be showing here on your income dial, but it might be physically received money, which will show on your net income dial because you've actually physically received it if you're not returning it to the client. And then you've got an area down in this bottom right here where you might have taken monies for future periods that don't relate to appointments sitting in February, or for historic periods where you're actually collecting money. For example, you might take some money in February, but the actual appointment was delivered in January or before that date. So that will also sit in this area here and be accounted for, but it won't show up in any totals here, because this just relates to expected income due for this month of February. And you can change it to the week or you can change it to the year. So at the moment we're just looking at February, and you can scroll backwards and forwards through the months and go forwards into the months, or you can customize the dates by using these drop down boxes here and actually specify exactly what dates you want to show it for. So we're looking here for the whole month of February, and so that's what this income dial is reflected. So this top button, this top line here will reflect any monies which you've received before February. So this might be any deposits that you've taken in January or December that relate to appointments that you're actually going to deliver in February. And then this line relates to any monies that you're receiving for your appointments that you're delivering in February. So this is monies that are received in February for appointments that you're actually delivering in February. This line shows you any monies for sales that you actually create and make in February and you receive, and so that's showing that £8 that we've done. And then this is monies that you receive after February. So at the end of February, this will always be zero, but you will be receiving potentially monies that are still due. So if you've got any monies left in this column, this £85, if we then flip over into March, and in March monies are paid towards this £85, it will then show up in this box here when you look at payments due in February. This column here relates to still to pay, and at the very beginning of February all of the monies that are due will all be in this box here, and then as you progress your way through the month of February, depending on whether the appointment status is marked as pending or as attended, if the appointment is still unpaid, the unpaid money will either be split between pending or attended appointments, and then this relates to any sales money that isn't paid for in February, and this will sit in this box. And the total of all of these monies here, this £85 added to all of these payments in February that are received, will be the total amount that you've got showing on this middle line, which is the total sum of your appointments and your sales booked in. Okay, so at the moment this money here, this £85, will always relate to your still to pay, and don't forget you can click on that button, that still to pay button, that red button here, and that clicks on a link to show you exactly everybody that still owes you money for these dates of the appointments and what it relates to, the different services, and then it also shows any unpaid sales if part payments have been made. So you reach that page by clicking on this red still to pay button, and that's a very quick way to get to it. So as I say, this button here, this toggles backwards and forwards, so you don't have to see this information if this makes you feel a little bit stressed by seeing all of this money. But you've got also little I buttons here to remind you what these lines relate to regarding what monies this relates to. So you can have a look as a reminder looking at the I button. And again, this one tells you about the cancelled appointment payments, and again this one tells you about monies taken for future and historic dates. So if you remember that the money showing here and in here, they won't be registering on this expected income due dial. They will be showing up in your net income as physically received monies. So that's a quick way to remember it. So on the appointments, we've added a payment here for a part payment here, so you'll be able to click and see that £20 is left to pay. If we click on this wax appointment here and we click on the details and we mark this over as attended, and we're going to update that status. Once that's been updated and it shows as attended, we can then go straight in here and add a payment. And we might be have had a bank payment. They might have said that they've paid it by a bank transfer. So you'll register that £10 here as a bank transfer. You'll press that save button, and now you've entered in a second payment into your income dial, which will be reflected on the dashboard and under your income payment section. So we've added another £10, so it's gone a little bit further green. We've reduced this still to pay by £10, so we're down to £75 here, and we've increased our paid to date by another £10. We're up from £48 to £58. So you'll see that this is also all getting reflected here on your net income dial. You'll see we haven't entered any expenses yet. There's nothing showing in the business expenses, so all of this is all green at the moment. This is all showing as profit because you've not entered any business expenses at this point. You can also add a payment directly from up here, so you can go straight into the payment button, and once you enter that payment button it will ask you whether you're adding a payment for an appointment or whether you're adding a sales payment. So if you want to add an appointment payment, you'll click on here and go into the add appointment payment, but the area doesn't know which client this is relating to. So you'll go to the drop down here and you'll select your client from this list here, and then you'll go to her appointments and you'll see all of the appointments which have got money outstanding. So we know for this one here, this highlights there's £20 left to pay. So by clicking on that, it will automatically tell you that there's £20 left outstanding, and you're going to add a cash amount here. If you want to add it because you remember that she actually paid you on a different day, so maybe she paid you on Monday and you're just entering it now because you've just remembered it, you can just still have the cash showing, and by pressing save, that appointment payment's now been successfully created, and you'll see that another £20 has been added on to the income dial. And if we go back into the appointments here, you'll be able to see that this appointment is now fully paid up. This £60 has been paid in full, and it's now gone to green. It was orange before because it had £20 left to pay. And if you go to Susie's information, you'll see that that now is fully paid, and you've now had another payment which relates to the £20 and the £40. So that's come in two different payments against Susie's appointment for her highlights. So that's all registered there. And if you go into your income dial area and you go down to your appointment payments area, you'll again see all of those payments registered here against the appointments payment area. So that's a quick way for you to be able to add appointment money directly into your calendar just by clicking on the link here. So the next area that we should be talking about on the app is about registering business expenses. So we've entered in some income now, and we're now going to put some business expenses into the app so that we can get some information here and get a more accurate net income dial. So the business expenses area is on the left hand side, and the first time you go to add an expense, it will give you the option to add it from the centre here, the add expense, the button from the bottom right to register a business expense, or on the top right area here, the business expense area is that bottom left one of this top corner. So we're going to go here and add a business expense, and you'll see if we work from left to right, the first thing is to add the actual copy of the business receipt. So by clicking on the camera button, it will open up your computer, and you'll be able to choose from where you've actually got the location of any receipts. So we've got one entered in here, and we're going to just add that in to the business receipt area. If it's not orientated correctly, you can just change it by clicking on this little button here to just so that it lines up straight. And then the next thing you'll need to do is to just copy across the amount showing on the receipt. So for example, you enter across the amount that the business receipt relates to. It will have today's date by default, but if it's an earlier date, then you can just change it here by going into this calendar button. And then on the business description, you can just enter in what the business expense relates to. After that, you need to categorise it, and we've got a drop-down list here for you to be able to choose. And this is a train ticket, so we're going to put that under travel. And then you're going to select on this right hand side how you've actually paid for it. So we're going to put here a debit card, and then the last thing you have to do is to press that save button. So we press the save button, and then it's going to successfully save into your database, and it'll be created successfully there. And once that message disappears, it takes you back into your business expense screen, and you can immediately see that Monday expense that you've created for a train ticket. That's the description here. You've paid by a debit card. It's an expense related to a travel category, and you've got your £38.19 for your travel expense. It's not a recurring expense. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So there's no frequency, and this green little button here indicates that there is a receipt present. If you've got a red button there, then that indicates that you haven't added on a receipt expense. Your accountant wouldn't be able to see that evidence. So it's important that you try and get a green receipt wherever you can. If you want to amend that receipt at all, then you'll just go back here to this green clickable link, and by going in here, you're able to see the receipt. As I say, if you click on here, you'll see that this is a train ticket, and you'll see there, oh, it's £13. So you can either delete that and add the correct receipt on if it's not the right one that you've added on, or you can download the receipt. Or if you need to amend that, because we've got £38.13 showing in here, what we'll do is here we'll go to more options and edit, and then we'll adjust the actual correct amount here to reflect the amount of the ticket of £13. And then you can also obviously change the method of payment and any other details. If you've categorised it incorrectly, you would just update it here, and then you press the update button, and you've then successfully updated your business expense, so it's now showing at £13. All of your expenses will be totaled at the bottom here, and routinely it will just show the last 20 expenses, but you can show less than that, more than that, or all of them just by changing this option here. And if you want to search for any particular expense, you can just start typing in what it is you're looking for or the amount, and it will filter out and find that particular receipt if it's showing in the list. Here we'll show a a cross section of how you've actually been paying for the receipts, paying for your business expenses. So this is showing that you've got a full 100% all being paid by debit card, but as you get more expenses, it will start to be separated into different categories. This just represents your flow of money out, and so this is registered here, this £13 against the 24th of February, but obviously any other expenses will just show accordingly along the date line. All of your expenses can be looked at on a weekly basis, and then you can just scroll through and look previous weeks, etc., and later weeks. You can have a look at a month view, and then you can have a look at your year view. So that just separates out, and you can then see the flow of money through your overall 12 months. If you want to categorize the dates for specific dates and customize them, then you'll just click on this little button here and choose your start date, for example here, and then you can choose your end date. So this would be giving you your whole annual period, but if you've got specific year-end dates for your accounting, then you would just customize those dates. Everything is exportable by pressing this button at the top here, and you can export your businesses in 3 different formats, either Excel, PDF or CSV. Your accountant would usually want Excel or CSV, and if you're just wanting to have a record in your printout, then you could choose a PDF, but you can't do any swapping around of data or any moving of data once you've printed out a PDF. So you'll just select the date period that you want to export from. So if you were doing it monthly, you'd click on the month, press the export button, and those date range for that month that you're looking at will automatically populate here, but you can adjust it. And then you just click on the Excel, PDF or CSV, and it will download to your computer for you to be able to save into a folder. So I'm just going to also show you how to add another business expense that could be recurring. So you just click on the button here, add the business expense. So you may or may not have a receipt. If you don't have another receipt, then you can just leave it blank. It will still save the business expense. So for example, you might have a £10 phone bill that you pay on the 1st of every month. So you'll click on the 1st of February, that might be the start date, and you'll just put a phone bill, and that's for your mobile phone. And then selecting on the expense category, you'll go down and categorize it so that would fit under internet and phone. And then this is a recurring expense. So this is something that occurs every single month. So from the frequency, you can choose from any of these options. So we're going to pick monthly. And then we're going to select an end date. So this contract is running for another 12 months right up until next year. So we're going to say that it's going to end on that 1st of February 2021. And then it's going to be coming out here by a bank payment. So by selecting this combination, you've now got a £10 business expense that's starting on the 1st of February. It's going to be carrying on a monthly basis until the 1st of February 2021. You've categorized it, so every month it'll be categorized under the internet and phone, and you've listed here what the actual expense description is and that it's coming out by a bank payment. So you just press that save button, and now that expense has been successfully saved, and the first payment will show up here on the 1st of February. So if you now go to the next month, you'll notice that it's not showing there because that date hasn't yet transpired. So it will only show you in your graph and under your business expenses once that date has passed and it will have been taken out of your business account. You'll notice here that you've now starting to get a list of all of your expenses, and they'll be listed in date order, but don't forget this little plus button, this little arrow button here allows you to sort all of your data. So you can sort it alphabetically by description, and then you can sort and categorize it according to payment method, expense category, the amount from your lowest to your highest, highest to your lowest expense. You can sort them all according to grouping all the recurring expenses together or all the non-recurring ones. And then obviously it'll only be listed with a frequency if it's a recurring expense. And then you can categorize it all according to those that have receipts and those that don't have receipts. Again, it subtotals here all of your business expenses that are showing in this list, and don't forget you can also show more or less numbers on your view. So now we've entered in 2 business expenses, so we'll go back into the dashboard here, because you'll notice now that we've got an amount showing in your business expenses for this month of £13, but for this, this week is £13, this month is £23, and we've now got that reflected on this net income dial. So in the weekly view we've got the £13 showing here, which is this one, and then on the monthly view we've got a little bit more, we've got the £23, which is reflected here, and this is all masked against this income which is showing in these areas here. So we've got an overall net income showing here of £55, and that's the difference between what you've got showing on your income and your expenses. So you've got your income that's paid in here, your £78, and that's showing in as paid income here on the top line, and then you've got expenses here of £23, which is your monthly expenses showing here, and then that net difference, the Pocket PA app will work out that amount in the middle, which is what's due to you. And you'll see here that the red is obviously a smaller amount of the circle than the green. And I always say try to make this red area as small as possible and this green area as large as possible. If you've got your dial so that it's half red and half green, that means the net income in the middle will actually be 0. So that means that there's no money left over for you to take out, and so you haven't got any profit at all going on. So you obviously need to start increasing your income and reducing your expenses. If this red area is actually going over this area here and you've got a smaller green area and a larger red area, well, effectively that means that your business isn't in great financial health and you've probably got an expensive hobby going on at this moment. So I would suggest you have a look at the month view and then check the year view, just to check and see if that proportion is exactly the same. And you really need to keep monitoring this, to keep making sure that this red area is as small as possible and this green is as large as possible, because this is exactly where you'll see the overall financial health of your business and know whether you're doing okay. So you'll be able to see that just at a glance without even looking at these figures once you get familiar with it, just by seeing how much of this this round circle is in the red and how much is in the green. So yeah, very important that you keep an eye on this once you've started to enter your business expenses. So we've touched a bit on this net income dial, and then there's a whole area on the left hand side here called net income, which if you press on that, it just gives you a screen just solely relating to your net income. You'll see that listed at the top. And this is there is no button up here for net income, because net income is made up of your income that you enter and your expenses you enter. So that dial that we've just gone through on the dashboard is reflected here exactly the same in this area. The only difference here is that you can see your income and your outgoings reflected on a graph, so you can see them next to each other on a day-by-day basis, or if you have a look on a week-by-week basis, you'll see them going up next to each other. Any refunds will be shown in orange, but it's important that most of this will probably be red and green, so you just want to obviously see the green spikes being a lot more than the red spikes. So we've got here your income and your expenses, and then your net income, which is reflected at the bottom, and that will be shown in the centre. Just to point of note that all of your income that's showing here, all of the monies that make up this £78 here on income will all be shown at the bottom, and it will be split between appointment payments and sales payments. So we've got £70 here of appointment payments. And then on this tab here, we'll click, we've got sales payments of £8. So 70 plus 8 is that 78. So if you're not quite sure where that income is coming from and how that's made up, just go down to the bottom here to your appointment payments and your sales payments, and you'll see full lists of them all showing at the bottom. If there are a lot, you can again show just the last 20, 10, 30, 40, 50, or all of them. And if you've got quite a lot, it may be that it's over more than one page. So just be aware that you might have to go through a number of pages if you've got a lot of entries. And then your expenses here of your £13, if you click on your business expenses and you go down here, you'll see that that is the total amount of any business expenses that you've got listed here. And these two columns here for appointment payments and sales payments have all been they all come straight from this income payment page, and all of your business expenses are directly coming from your business expenses page. So this is just where everything is all put together. So you'll see the same information reflected in these areas as you've already seen in your income and business expenses pages. Again, you can have a look at it on a weekly, monthly or yearly basis, and you can scroll backwards and forwards using these arrow buttons, and you're also able to customize the dates using these two boxes up on the right hand side. Everything again is exportable, and you can have a look at it broken down into week, month or year. So for example, if you have a year's worth of data showing up here, and you've got those that data information from the 1st of January to the 31st. If this is selected in green, it means that it will give you a breakdown week by week on the Excel, PDF or CSV that you export. So you would effectively have 52 weeks of entries showing each week by week. If you want to select it and have it broken down by month, then there would be 12 lines of information with a column showing income, expenses and then your net income. And if you just want one line and you just want to have a look at the whole overall year, then you would just select it by year. But obviously whichever option you choose here, the more broken down the information will be exported. So once you've selected your option, so if you've got a week option here, any week where there's an entry in it for income and expenses, it will be listed, and then you just click on the Excel, the PDF, CSV, and it will be downloaded on your computer to be able to save. So yes, this net income information is just directly populated, and again you can see that in the dashboard area here. So as we've started to enter in this income, and this dial has started to get greener and greener, and we've now got a few entries going into the business expenses, I'll just touch back here on this income paid area and this expenses area. You'll see that you've started to get information populated into this area. So you'll be building a profile here for £13 of expenses this week, this month and this year, and then as the weeks and months progress over, you'll always be able to see the previous week, month and year on the right hand side in brackets, and that relates to the same on the income. So this relates to income, physical income that's been paid in this week, this month and this year, and then as the week progresses and the month progresses, you'll see that drop onto the right hand side so that you can do a comparison between this week and last week, this month and last month. And it's the same for your appointments. You can see this number of appointments for this week compared to last, this month compared to last, so that you can gauge your busyness. Okay, so we're going to just go a little bit into the account settings now and just discuss your business profile here under the account setup. You're going to have your first and last name entered here, so the more complete you fill this in, the better it is for pulling data when you want to fill in other areas. So I would suggest you start by putting in your first and last name, and then this relates to your username which you'll have used to set up. You've got your business name here which you'll enter in, so let's put in here a name of your, so we'll call ourselves British Airways for our business name, and then we've got to add a business address here, so we're going to put in here, this is your office, perhaps your office address, and we're going to put in here a location of 1 High Street. Let's put that all in. And then we've got that all listed here, and then we're going to give this a tick here because we want to say that this is going to be one of our online booking addresses that we want to have associated with any appointments that we're going to have made in our online booking calendar, which we're going to do in a moment. But if this is just an office address where you don't want to show it in the online booking diary, you just don't have to tick that box. And we're also going to check it as our billing address and then press the save button. So this has now saved the location successfully under your location area, and you can see that it's listed here as office. If you want to click on it and amend anything, then you would just click the green button, press the edit button before you're able to change any of this data. You can't change it until you press this edit button. But once you've pressed the edit button, you can amend anything. And the other thing about it in this locations area, under the green tick, you can also remove it if you want to delete it, and you can only delete it if it's not associated with an appointment. So once it's been linked to an appointment, then you can't actually delete it. It won't let you do that. So going back out of here and back into the account setup, under the business profile, you'll now see that you've got that address you've just entered in as a billing address. You've got your phone number that you entered in when you first set your account up, and you can also add subsequent phone numbers here just by pressing this add phone. So you would tick that press that button, and then you enter in a phone number here. Make sure that you have the right country code. It's automatically selected here for the UK, but you can select any other country code here. If you don't want to add another phone number, you just remove that away. And then if you want to change your email address, you can do that here. Putting in your country of where you are is important for picking up the right phone number and the right country code, etc. And then we ask you to just select a category of the area which you work in. So for example, if you're in beauty and you're a hairdresser, you would just enter that information here. So this is just what you would call yourself, what's your professional trade. So you then can also add a photograph here. So by clicking on here, you can add a photo into your profile. And alternatively, you can put your logo if you want to put a logo that you've got for your business. So for example, I would put this one in. You can change it around so that it's correctly orientated, and then by pressing the save button, you're now going to, by putting that logo in, that's going to replace the top right area here where you've got your initials. So I'm going to press that save change and keep my fingers crossed that that's going to now be replaced in the top right area. Oh, there we are, it's all good. So you've now got your logo in that area, and we've saved the changes. If you want to change your password, you can click this button here, and it will log you out of, you'll have to put in your old password here. You've got this little I button here if you want to reveal it, and then you need to put your old password in first, put your new password in twice. Don't forget it needs to be at least 8 characters long with a capital letter and a number, and then it will log you out of your other devices where you've already been logged in, just for a security measure in case your password's been compromised at all. So you would just press the Save Changes button. So that's your business profile. This is your locations. We've already added one in directly from your business profile, but you can add subsequent and extra new locations just by pressing this button at the bottom. So when you go to add a new location, you can add another one in as an online booking address. So for example, you might have Salon 1, Salon 2, Salon 3 if you work at various different places, or Office 1, 2 and 3, and then you just press that save. You can only have one billing address though, so if you now select this is your billing address, that will replace the other one that you had. So you can have a number of different locations here to have associated with your drop down menus when you go to book your appointments. So any address that you want to have showing up when you try to create an appointment, if it's not an address directly associated with the client and it's a fixed place of address where you might work from, you would add it in here as the locations so that it's available in the drop down menu when you're booking an appointment with your client. So that's the business profile and the locations. This next one is really important. This is about your calendar and your time. And as a default, you'll have all of your business timing showing here as on. But if you don't work Saturdays and Sundays, you'll just untick these buttons on the bottom right hand side, and they won't show once you've pressed the Save Changes button in your diary. You can still book appointments on those days, but it will just show as hashed out, and I'll show you what I mean on the appointments calendar in a moment. By default, we've got an 8 to 5 day, but you can change any one of these just using the time picker. So Mondays you might not start until 9 o'clock in the morning, so you would just select that as a 9 to 5. And say, for example, Thursday you might work a late day, so you might work until 8 o'clock. So you can put an 8 o'clock time that you finish there, and it might be that you start a little bit later, so you don't start until 10 o'clock that day, so you would add the 10 o'clock in the morning slot, so you're doing a 10 till 8. Any of these appointments that you want to have showing in your online booking diary, you'll need to make sure that you've checked this button on the right hand side. So for example, if you work at one salon on a Monday and you do mobile the rest of the week, then you can select Monday and Tuesday to have an address showing here of your office address or your salon address. And if you've got more than one location address here which has been set for online booking, you would be able to see more than one address showing in your options here. So you could have Salon 1, Salon 2, Salon 3, Salon 3 and Salon 4 or whatever, all showing as different addresses in your online booking diary. Over on the left hand side here, we've got the option for your clock to be a 12 or a 24-hour clock. You just select whichever is your preference here. You've got your time slot options in your diary, and they go from 15 minutes right up to 60 minutes. So if you offer new appointments every 15 minutes or you do 20-minute appointments, you can change it here. But by having it on the 15-minute slot, that will show the most number of entries in your diary. You can choose which day your week starts on. Most people start on a Monday, but if you want to change it because you do shift work, then that can be amended here. We suggest that you select your time zone directly from this button here in the middle. So we're going to be putting ours here for London. We're based in the UK. So just looking through all of those, here we are. I think it's UTC or Greenwich Mean Time. There we are, London. So you'll put that in, and that helps with your calendar being orientated for sending out your SMS reminders, etc. So it's important that you have your time zone set for the correct one, specifically if you're outside of London and you're sending SMS reminders. This calendar view preference, this relates to how you will see your default calendar showing. Some people like to see a week view, other people like to have a month view. So you'll select day, week or month view from this area here, and then you'll choose your date format. This is the UK date format, this is the US date format. So just like the 12 and 24-hour clock, you'll choose your preference here. And then you'll go to press the Save Changes button on the bottom right hand side, and until you've done that, none of these adjustments that you've made will actually be saved. So once you've done that, you'll come out of this area and then you set up your calendar and time. This one relates to connecting to calendars, and the plan is that we're going to be connected to Google Calendar coming soon, and at some point in the future we hope to be able to link up with iCalendar and Outlook, but at the moment we're just working on the Google Calendar, and this will change once this has all been synchronized and we've got a direct link with Google Calendar. So there's nothing to do at this point with that one. The dashboard button here on the customization enables you to be able to choose which boxes on the front screen show. So if you're never going to be sending out invoices and you don't have any products to sell, then you might be able to, you might want to switch off these two buttons here. We've got everything showing for completeness, but if you, for example, you just sell things and you don't ever have any appointments, you might want to switch off the appointments button. So choosing your preferences for your dashboard is where you'll select it here, and then don't forget to press any save changes at the end after that. A little bit earlier on we covered off the sales and invoice setup with the payment methods and currency options and the discount. We're going to come back to this Stripe invoicing setup in a moment. I just want to go through here the client notification area and the helpful tools. So the first thing I want to do is to go into email notifications, and this part is very useful for clients that want to send reminder emails or thank you emails before and after appointments. So the first thing that you'll need to do is to switch on your enable notification emails, and obviously emails will only be sent to those clients who you've actually got an email address for. So those that you haven't collected an email address for won't be sent any of these email reminders or thank you messages. Another thing to note is that emails are sent from no reply at Pocket PA. So if you want to put your details somewhere inside the email to say that you want them to respond back to a different email address, then that can often be helpful, because we're going to be sending these out from our email address from Pocket PA, so they won't be able to respond directly back to you, because this is just a reminder service that we're sending out on your behalf. So you've got two options here, an email reminder and a thank you message. They're both on different tabs here, and both are independently able to be set. So you could, for example, have a reminder email on and no thank you message being sent, or you can have one thank you message being sent and no reminder emails being sent, or you can have them both switched as on. But what you can't do is to send specific email reminders to specific clients. It was either all on the reminder emails or all on thank you messages. So I'm going to just explain how this will be working. For example, here you'll switch on your enable reminder email by clicking on this button here, and that shows that it's on. Green is for on, and then the grey shows that it's off. So you've got to have this button switched on overall at the top as well for them to be sent. And then the next thing you're going to do is to choose how far in advance of your appointment you want that email to be sent. So the options here are for 2 hours just before your appointment, right up to 48 hours, which is 2 days before your appointment. So for example, if you want to send everybody something the day before, 24 hours before their appointment, you would choose from that drop down 24 hours. We've chosen an email subject for you as a default, but you can change this yourself. So you could add an emoji in or something to personalize it to show that it's actually coming from you. And it starts off just by saying appointment reminder for your, and then it's got a service name, which is a specially tagged piece of information, and then from your business name. So you will need to have filled in under your customization business profile area what your business name is, because this will be pulled when the email is sent to remind them. So for example, this could say appointment reminder for your haircut from British Airways, which is your business name. And every time the service name changes, it will pull the correct one for the client that it's being sent to remind them of their appointment. So you'll select this, and if you want to change anything, then you could put, for example, their first name in. So you could put the client first name here, and to do that you just literally copy on the right hand side here and copy that information, and you can put that in directly to that spot here. So that would say, for example, Jenny, appointment reminder for your haircut from British Airways, and that's just quite a nice way to personalize it if you want that to go into the email subject. Further down you've got your email template, and again we've chosen hi, client first name. It's unusual to suggest that you put their last name in it, but if you want to make it more formal then you can do it. Any of these tags on the right hand side can be copied and pasted into the body of your email, or you can add additional text or reduce it down depending on what you want to put in. You can remove this line at the bottom about your cancellation policy, or you can put in a hyperlink directly to your web page or anything like that. You can put in an email footer or put your own little sort of ending, but just this is the basic information that is put in by default. So this is how the information is set up at the beginning. You can press the save changes after you've done each one. So by pressing that, you've got confirmation that everything's been saved successfully. And then you can go directly into your thank you messages and do exactly the same setup. So you would enable the thank you email, and then you choose how long after your appointment has ended that you want to send this information. So for example, if you want a quick follow-up, you would select the 2 hours. If you want to do it the next day or 2 days later, you might choose the 12 or 24 hour or 48 hour option. And then you've also got two other options of 7 days and 14 days. Some people might offer a service where they want to give their client a little bit longer to digest their treatment, their service, or whatever it is that they've spent their time together doing. So it seems a little bit soon to be sending it 1 or 2 days afterwards. So they want to send something 7 days or 14 days after the appointment. So you might choose a slightly later sending date. Again, you can choose your email subject, and we've suggested a thank you from your business name, but some people choose to send their thank you messages out and they choose a different theme for each month. So say, for example, in November, they might just choose to send thank you email addresses to all of their clients after every appointment that they attend to tell them about their Christmas promotional offers coming up in December. So they would then tailor this whole email template just to relate to their business services or any promotion that they're doing for the following upcoming month or few weeks or whatever. And so you can change this on a month-on-month basis, and then it can be sent out to all of the clients that you've got an email address for. And again, you can choose how soon after their treatment or their service the email gets sent. Again, you can copy all of this information over from the right hand side. So if you're just doing a promotional email, you won't be including anything about their appointment and times and dates, perhaps, but you'll probably want to include your business name, etc. But you can make this as long or as short as you want to, and choose anything you want to go into your email subject, and this can change month on month. So once you've customized this and chosen everything and you're happy with it, you will just press the Save Changes button, and then you'll get a successful message showing up here. And again, so just remember, you can switch reminders off and just be sending out emails with promotional information on, or you can just have both of them switched off, and then you can switch this off at the top here as well. But don't forget to press that Save Changes in order to make sure the settings are all been completed. So that's to do with your email notifications. very similar is the SMS notifications, and you'll have to switch this button on here. In order to be able to send SMSs, you will need to get a credit bundle. Those aren't included in your free trial or in your month-to-month subscription. So you'll need to purchase those, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So you would switch on and enable your SMS notifications. So the first thing that you'll have to do is to purchase the credits. So in order for you to do that, you'll need to choose your number of messages that you're purchasing. So you can buy them in bundles of 100, 250 or 500, and depending on which bundle and package, it gets cheaper the more that you purchase. So for example, the 500 messages work out at 7p a message, and the 100 work out at a couple of pence more at 9p a message. So it's up to you which cash flow option you want to actually purchase. So once you've purchased your SMSs, they will then show up here in your credit balance, and it will always give you an ongoing amount to show you exactly how many you've got left after each message is sent. So once you've purchased your SMS notifications, you'll go to the button here to enable your notifications. And the first thing that it will do is to always just remind you that one SMS message is 160 characters long. So it's important that if you make your messages longer than 160 characters, it is going to use up more than one credit for your SMSs. So if you're not sure and find that your balance might be going down faster than you were expecting, just check to see how long your messages are and whether you've got any characters in it, because emojis and something called Unicode characters actually reduce the length of your messages down to around 70 characters if you put an emoji in it. So it will start to use up more than one message per SMS that you're sending. So once you've made a note of that, again, that warning message is showing down here just to remind you. It's absolutely fine to have a longer message, but you just need to be aware that you might be using more than one SMS credit as you go along. So the system is set out exactly the same. You've got reminders, thank yous, and then you've got an area here which will show up your history of any SMS messages that you've already sent. So you'll go to your reminder SMS, and the first thing that you'll do is to select how far in advance you want to send it. So it's just like the email notifications. You choose, for example, you want to send it the day before, 24 hours, you'll select this line here. And then you've got your SMS template, and you'll be able to look here and choose what you want to say in the message. I would suggest that you keep your SMS messages much snappier than you might do in your email, because obviously each character counts. But you can't, for example, work out exactly how many characters, because each SMS that will be sent will be different if you're pulling this detail. So, for example, if you've got a client called Joe or a client called Charlotte, it's going to use a different number of characters because one name is shorter and one name is longer. The same if you've got a reminder service for a Russian infill extension or something like that on lashes compared to a wax. They have different number of characters. So you're going to get different lengths of SMSs sent depending on your input at the beginning. You'll have your business name at the end unless you want to change that, or you want to put your own name at the bottom. As I say, you can add an emoji, but it will make a difference to the number and length of your message and the number of credits that you use. But once you start getting up a history here, it will actually tell you how many SMSs or how many credits have been used per message that is sent. So you'll be able to quickly get a gauge very fast how many what your burn rate is and how many you're going to be using if you've got a particularly long message showing here. I know some people put a link for directions, or if there's any roadworks coming up to their property any particular time, they'll add a link in here. And rather than doing a very long link using a Google Map one, which again takes up more characters, I would suggest that you get familiar with something called Bitly or a URL shortener. You can Google either of those, and you can shorten very long directions or information about traffic and make it a much snappier and shorter link directly into your template. But I know some people choose to do that. So once you've got all of that set up and you've copied and pasted across from the right hand side, you'll press that save changes, and don't forget you have to actually switch on your reminder SMS, and then your thank yous are exactly the same. You can customize and choose, and you can separately have this on and the reminders off, or you can just have thank yous off and reminders on, or you can have them both off or both on. And again, you collate your message and choose what you want to say using any of the information over here. So once you've got everything done, you'll press your save changes and it will give you confirmation that you've saved everything successfully, and then that's all of your SMSs and your email notifications set up. If you want to switch anything off globally, you just press that button at the top, and again on your emails you can go in at the top just to switch it off. And don't forget, under the SMS notifications, you've then, by switching the top button off, you've switched off both settings for thank yous and reminders all at once. Okay, so that's the SMS and email notification area. And then going on to the right hand area, this helpful tools, we've covered the import contacts. Remember, that was where you're importing your clients in directly using that spreadsheet. The other thing that we've got here is for you to use this really helpful set and forget of export information. So I did show you on the business expenses how you can export some information directly there and then, and you can do that for all of your sheets for your appointments, clients, services, product sales, income and business expenses and net income. But we have got this facility here under helpful tools to be able to choose any data, any of these lists here, to be able to be sent to you on either a weekly, monthly or an annual basis automatically. So if, for example, you want your data sent to you weekly, you'll be able to say, for example, I want to have all of my sales information, all of the income from my sales and all of my business expenses sent to me. And I want to have that sent to me in a CSV format, and I'm going to then press that Save Changes. So once you've done that, that means that your export settings have been successfully saved, and you'll get all three of those spreadsheets all in a CSV sent to you, and it'll be sent in the format of a link. So you'll have to click on the link and a zip file will download, and it will have all three of these files directly inside the zip file for you to be able to save to a folder or hard drive or to forward on to your accountant. So as I say, you can change that and have it sent to you monthly, which will be the first of each month or the first day of each week. And as I say, you can change the setting if you want to have it into Excel. You can just if you just do an appointments-based income, you can have your income and expenses sent to you on that basis. So you would just select those two, and again you press the Save Changes. So it's very quick and easy to set up and to amend if you want to change the way that you've got it set up. Okay, so that's all of the things here in your account setup. We've covered the customization, the client notification area, the helpful tools, and the sales and invoice setup. We're going to come on to the Stripe invoicing in just a moment. So from here, we're now going to have a look at the invoices section, because this is a really important part for a lot of people. And in order for you to create an invoice, you do need to create a free Stripe account, as we've got here. And to do an invoice, you can click from this top right hand area to add an invoice. Once you've got invoices set up, you'll be able to click from the bottom right to add an invoice. But this very first time when you're going to create an invoice, you'll need to click on this button here, and this will take you directly into this sales and invoice setup area, and you'll be under the Stripe area, and it will invite you to connect a Stripe account to accept payments, and this will allow you then to accept payments for card payments and then also for your invoices, to have your invoices paid by Stripe, which will get logged directly onto your income dial. So the first thing that you need to do is to connect to your Stripe account by clicking on this button here. It's going to take you straight into the Stripe page, and you'll see that it's got the Pocket PA logo at the top, so you know that this is linking the two between Stripe and Pocket PA. In this part, we're going to set up the Stripe. So going from the Pocket PA logo at the top, don't worry about that not being your logo. That's just indicating that it's correctly linking with your Stripe account and the Pocket PA account that you've got. So the first thing that you're going to do here to activate your account, you'll already have it set as your country default. So if it's not the United Kingdom, you just need to go to the drop down menu here and select the correct country. And then you're going to go to your product here, and and you want to put in here your business website, but if you don't have a website, that's absolutely fine. You just need to have some sort of internet presence. So that could be a Facebook or an Instagram account or something where your business profile is sort of linked to. Most likely it's going to have an HTTPS, so we're going to put that in there. So it'll have an HTTPS, and I'm just going to put in here our website address, so that I can't even spell that, so that we can move forwards. But if you've got an Instagram or a Facebook profile, just go to your page, and then at the very top in the bar at the top, just copy the link for your own Instagram or your Facebook profile, and then just copy and paste it here into this business website area, and that'll be enough. You don't need to have a website to be able to move on. You then need to put your business description in, and you want to select your industry. So I would select software here, but it might be that you've got one of these other categories that you can choose, and you'll see that there's a little drop down on the right hand side. So if you're in personal services, you might be in health and beauty, you could click that and then it will show up here, and it'll just ask you for a short summary of what you do. And so you might just want to say a beautician or a hairdresser, dog walker, childminder, whatever it is you do, just enter it into this line here. And then the next thing you'll go down to are your account details. So if you're not an individual or a sole trader, you could put in here that you might be a limited company, but I would suspect the majority of people are using Pocket PA or an individual or a sole trader. And then you want to go down past these two boxes, unless you are a limited company. These are optional fields to you to be able to put in your company number from Companies House and your VAT number, again, which I'm not suspecting that most of you are with a VAT number, but you'll know that if you have one. And then you want to put your business address in here. So I'm going to put in here this one here, and then below that you've got a business phone number. So again, you don't have to fill that in, so you can move on to the next area, and this is about the individual or the sole proprietor details. So this is your information here. So we're going to put in here your name. I'm just going to put in my first and last name, and then underneath that you're going to actually put in a phone number, and you need to include this phone number here which relates to your business. So I'm just going to put in our phone number here, and once you've entered that in, it'll ask you for your date of birth, so you can put in whatever you want on that. And then your home address. I'm not sure if that's an optional one. I think because we put the business address in, it doesn't say whether that's optional or not, so I'm just going to put that and repeat that same information here. And then you just put your info there, and then you've got to put in here your statement descriptor. Now that basically means when you send your invoice out and it goes through the Stripe account, or when you make a card payment, this statement descriptor is what you'll be known by on the other person, on your client's statement. So they will want to be able to recognise the service that they've had with you. So I will put in here, for example, the company name. Oops, sorry, I'm typing that in the wrong box. So I'm going to put in here under the company descriptor the same name that I put in the business profile. So that's the British Airways, so that when the clients have a card payment that is taken by your app, then it shows up as British Airways, so they'll know who they've been making that payment to. You can put in a support phone number here, which I think is optional, and then the next area here is relating to your bank details. It will by default already have your currency in here as GBP, but if you need to change that, you'll go to this drop down here. And then you'll need to enter in your bank details. So it often asks for a sort code here. So I'm going to enter in, just trying to think what my, and then I'm just going to enter in here some info here. It'll ask you to confirm it. And if they don't link and they don't match, it will give you this information here that they don't match. So you're going to need to go in here, and I'm not sure whether you can copy and paste that. Let's just see. Yes, you can. So you can copy and paste your numbers to make sure that they match. and then you'll go back down to the direct debit request here and the two-step authentication. So I suggest that you get this set up on a text message, and then it will always mean that you've got a double step of safety for you to be going into your Stripe account to know that nobody else is going to be using it. Alternatively, you can use something called an authenticator app, which you can Google and download and have on your phone, and then you'll always get that information through your authenticator app. But you'll see that this two-step authentication is required, so it's really necessary that you have this step. So it's important that you have excuse me, the right phone number set up above. So we're going to press the Get Text Message option, and it asks you to enter in your mobile phone number here. So I'm just going to put in my mobile to get the quickest way to get the text message. And the information is then sent to me with a 6-digit code directly to my phone, because that's the one that you probably will pretty much have with you all the time. So I'm just going to have a look and see if I can see that message. Right, so I'm going to put that number in. Oops, let's put that in there. And then you just press that confirm, and it will then give you this confirmation that you've successfully enabled it. You can download this code if you want to, which you can use in an emergency as a backup code. So if you want to do that, then you can copy that to your clipboard and save it somewhere safe, or send it to yourself. That just might be if you don't have your information to hand at a later date and you want to authenticate your account. So the last thing it leaves you to do is to put in your email address again here, and to set up a password. So you'll enter in that information, and then you'll click this authorize access to this account. And if there's something further up above that hasn't been filled in correctly, it's going to phone you. Oh, okay, so you do need to have a phone number here on your support number. So we'll put that in here. So you've got that completed, and then we'll head back down to the authorize access to this account. And then it will say that you're going to be saved successfully, and you'll now be taken back into your Pocket PA app, and you'll have this information message saying you're successfully connected to your Stripe account. So that's great. It means that you can now start taking invoices and card payments directly through your Pocket PA app, and it will get logged straight onto your income dial and your dashboard area, which is on the front. And if you want to change your Stripe account at any point in the future, if you want to disconnect it, you would click on this button here and it will disconnect you, and then you could connect back up to a different account or reconnect it to your Stripe account. And just to have a quick look here, these are the 12 great reasons that we think you should be using a Stripe invoicing and card payment facility. There aren't any setup fees for you to be able to get that account. It's free to set up. You don't have any monthly costs, unlike WorldPay, which charge you a monthly fee to be able to have access to this sort of setup. There's no contract, there's no tie-in. You don't have to carry cash around. You can take instant, immediate payments. As I say, you don't need a card reader. I'm going to show you how to take a card payment directly inside the Pocket PA app without needing a card reader. Stripe is very, very conscientious about all their fraud, and they have a lot of great built-in fraud protection stuff. All of the information and payments that are going through your Stripe account, as I say, they're centralized and go into your dashboard area. You can personalize your invoices with your logo in the dashboard setup, which we'll go into in a moment, and the payments will get tracked directly into your income dial. Whatever time your client pays, they'll go straight into your income dial there and then. So it will save you time collecting that money online. You don't have to have any trips to the bank, and their fees are actually very reasonable. You just do a pay-as-you-go fee, which is 1.8% plus 25 pence per transaction for EU cards, and then these are the non-EU cards. If you take anything outside the EU, they're slightly higher on the percentage, but the transaction fee is the same. And these transaction fees that are logged, these 33p's or 59p's, whatever it is, will get logged directly directly onto your business expense area for you. So the full amount of the payment will go also directly into your income dial, but the Stripe transaction fee gets automatically logged into your business expense. So you don't need to cross-reference and match those and then enter those in on a later date. So it makes it very simple and quick for you to be able to take Stripe card payments and invoicing. So we're just going to spend a couple of minutes just customizing your Stripe dashboard area. And now you've set up your Stripe account successfully and connected it. Just to let you know, you will have been sent an email to your email address, which will need to be verified and have the two-step authentication. But once you've done that, you'll log into your Stripe account and we'll put in the details here for your Stripe account, and it'll probably ask you again to verify with a two-step authentication where the message is sent very quickly straight to your mobile phone, which you can enter in straight away and copy across. So I've never really had to wait for that, but it will take you straight in then to your Stripe dashboard where we'll be able to just run through customizing it a little bit to make it a bit more personal. So all your payments will always show up here, and to look straight away you can see this payment area, and all your payments will be split into succeeded, refunded, ones that haven't gone through fully, and then all will be listed under this tab on the right hand side. So if you want to categorize them, you would select here. It will ask you when you first open your account to review your account details, and you might need to verify a couple of bits of information. They might want to see some of your home address or some ID or whatever. So just follow these steps under the review area to be able to make sure that you're all set up fully under the verification part. So just here they're wanting some personal identity information and some home address information, and then once you've got both of those things done, you'll be seen as a verified account, and that also helps to process your payments more quickly to arrive in your bank account. What I'd suggest that you go to have a look, you can have a look on any of these tabs here, but I want to just focus at the moment on this setting area. And so all of your account information that you've previously set up can be found here, and you can edit and change any of it. Your bank account and information here can all be found in this area. And what I suggest is that you have this payout schedule to be set automatically to be paid on the next working day, but the actual timing of when the payouts reach you, the default standard is a 7-day, but you can go for an accelerated payout if you qualify. And this often relates to if you've been able to put in a website address, or they've been able to verify your linked account when you entered that HTTPS information. So if you only have at the moment a standard payout timing to receive funds 7 calendar days after the payment, always make sure that you select this automatic every day to get the fastest option, but you may well be eligible for an accelerated payout timing. And if you initially qualify for the standard payout timing, it just means that they want to probably monitor your account for 3 or 4 months and check the level of refunds or recredits back to your account, and to just check your account activity. And after that time, they'll probably move you on to this accelerated payout timing to get your money paid into your bank account quicker. It already says here that we're eligible for free accelerated payouts, but that was just relating to if you are a standard payout. So going back into the settings here, the ones that I want to focus on at the moment are the branding ones, because this will be where you can change your colours and stuff. So you might want to add your logo to show up, and you might have that saved somewhere on your computer. So you can open and add your logo and change it anytime by pressing this little cross box and swapping it. You can then see that your logo will come up here in this area of your invoices, and then you've got the ability to also put in an icon, for example a little picture there if you want to have an icon showing, and that goes into the middle area here. If you want to put your logo in, you can just put it in to show in both places or whatever, but you have got an option for an icon or a logo. Also, you might want to accent your colour and have it similar to your own website. So for example, our branding colours are, I know this because I've typed it in loads of times, so this is the green that we use for Pocket PA, and this then shows up on your in your invoices for your email receipts and invoices and stuff, and also your pay button. So you can change that to any particular colours you want. I know that there's that will be a light pink, a light yellow colour. Let's see. yep, so that's a bright yellow colour. And then that changes it to a red. So all of these accent colours you can find out by Googling to see what your own accent colour is, or your marketing team, if you have one, or a friend might know how to find out accent colours. But you can change all of it here in the actual branding setup. So I'm going to just change that back to our one, because that other one was a bit bright, wasn't it? Okay, so we're now on green, and then you just press this save button at the bottom right. Just make sure you're always pressing this save button, otherwise all the changes that you make would be lost. So this is just a little preview of what your receipts and invoices and what it will look like when you're going to take a card payment, what it would show when you get to see it. So that's under the settings and this branding area here. The next one I want to draw your attention to is this emails part here. And this tells you when your customers will be sent an email. And I would suggest that for any payments that you take, or refunds, or I don't take direct debits, and we haven't got that set up through the app, but I would just have all of these settings on so that you're emailing your customers about any transactions that are going through, and that gives you the opportunity for full transparency. You press that save button afterwards, and then go back into the settings. So we've covered that account information, the branding, and the emails. This is all to do with compliance stuff, and you can read through that at your own leisure. And again, reporting documents, legacy reports, and this their Stripe beta program and stuff. This relates to team security, members, history, and this won't probably apply to you, but you can look into any of these areas. We've talked about the bank accounts and scheduling, and this relates to payment methods which are already pre-set up. So you'll be taking card payments, so you can accept Visa, MasterCard, or American Express cards, and Apple Pay will be available through the invoicing option when you send out invoices to clients. The next area down here I want to bring to your attention is the subscription and emails. You won't be doing subscriptions through the app and Pocket PA, but you will want to look under this area at the bottom here under managing invoices sent to customers, and I would suggest that you put this bottom setting on to send a reminder if an invoice hasn't been paid. So you'll be sending it out when it's due, and you can choose any of these options so that they get sent follow-up reminders to get it to be paid. So if it's still showing in Stripe as unpaid and your Pocket PA app is unpaid, you can get this automatically sent and choose when and how often it's done, and you can also add reminders as well. As I say, we're not offering any subscriptions through the app, so that's not relevant. This part isn't relevant to us either. So that's the settings under the billing area. In addition to that, this is your invoice template, which we spoke about, the branding settings here, and the business information you set up in the settings area. But you can also include a default memo message that will go in all of your invoices, and an area in the footer part where you can also put some more information. So you've got two opportunities to add information which are personalised into your invoices to customise them, and each can be up to 500 characters, 500 at the top and 5,000 characters in the bottom. So it's quite a big area for you to be able to send additional information into your invoices. This is about your default payment terms. So if you give people 7 days to pay your invoices, then you could enter that in there. If you give them 30 days, you'll write that accordingly. And so that's where you would put your default payment terms. I would just make sure that this box is always ticked so that your clients can use a link and then they can copy that from the invoice. Don't forget to press that save button again once you've entered in your bespoke text and your customized text into your memo and footer, or you've changed your payment dates. And then go back into the settings here. The last part I want to just bring to your attention in the setup is this checkout settings. And if you go to checkout settings here, what you need to do if you're going to be taking in-app card payments is to switch your digital wallet on and turn these buttons off. Because if you leave these on, when you go to take an in-app card payment, it will show the Apple logo or the Google Pay logo, indicating to your client that they have an option to make a payment through Apple Pay or Google Pay on the in-app card payment on your phone. But if you're offering them a payment option to take a card payment through your mobile phone device, your phone is likely to be registered to your own Apple account. So by pressing that Apple logo, that Apple Pay logo, by following it through and pressing that Apple Pay, all you'll be doing is activating your own Apple Pay and therefore paying yourself on Apple Pay or Google Pay, which you don't want to do. So to remove any confusion, just turn both of these Apple Pay and Google Pay options off in your digital wallet, and then that way it's not going to cause any confusion for your clients. They'll still be able to make an Apple payment through the invoice that's sent if their device that they're opening the invoice is registered to Apple Pay, but just switching this off here will make sure that the Apple logo doesn't show up when you're doing a card payment inside your phone. Okay, so that's relating to all of your settings, and that relates to how you can customize your invoicing for your Stripe and your colors, etc., all for your Pocket PA use. So now your Stripe account has all been set up and customized, you're going to go into this invoices area on the left hand side, and because your Stripe account is set up, you've got the option now to add an invoice from the bottom right, or you can go to this top right area here to add an invoice, and by clicking on here you're going to go into the add new invoice screen. The other quick way that you can get to the Add New Invoice screen directly from a client appointment is you can click on the client appointment here where it's unpaid, press the details button, and there's a button at the bottom here to be able to send them an invoice specifically for this appointment, this £10. But if you want to send them for just a smaller amount of the £10 and take a deposit, you'll need to go through the manual invoice area where we're going to just show you now how we set up an invoice. So the plus button here, we're going to click on the add invoice, and the first thing that you're going to do is to choose a client. So you've got your drop down list, or you can start to type in your client's name there and it will just start to filter through who you want to send the invoice to. So we've got an invoice here and the email will naturally populate. You can't send an invoice without an email address. So if you haven't got an email address for a client, you'll be prompted to put it in there and then it will get saved onto that client's record. But this client's already got an email address, so that will automatically go into this area. And the first thing that you've got the option to do is to invoice them for either a new product or a new appointment. So we're going to click on the appointment option and it's going to be invoicing them for an appointment that we've got in the diary, and this is a list of all the outstanding appointments which you might want to send an invoice to where there's monies owing. So let's choose that top option for that 4 p.m. wax on Monday the 24th, and automatically it fills in that £10 is for the appointment and is due, and that shows up in the top area here. If any payments had been made against it, it would show up here, and then it would show how much is left to pay, and then this would be the total invoice amount. You can then add on another appointment here, and by going into this drop down you can't select this one because that's already gone on the invoice, so that's showing in red, but you can add the next one down on the list here. So you've now got 2 wax appointments showing up on this, two amounts of £10, so we've got a total of £20 being invoiced. And then you can also add a product at this point in, so you can go into your product list of here and we're going to add on a blue t-shirt, and we're going to add two blue t-shirts, so we're going to put the quantity up to 2. And if you've had a part payment already against these t-shirts, you would click this box here, but we're adding on a brand new invoice and sale at this point, so we've just entered in the t-shirt amounts and the quantity. So we've now got a total of 24 being invoiced, but if you're just taking a part payment, so you're just invoicing for a deposit amount before the appointment, and the client's going to perhaps pick up the 2 t-shirts when they come, but you want them to be reserved, you can just say that they're paying £10 towards the 2 t-shirts and 50% of the actual services that they're going to be coming for. You're just taking deposits, so that's showing that you're invoicing for just £20 out of a total amount of 44 which is due still. You can add your own notes here onto the actual bottom of the invoice, so customize your invoice with your own notes. So that will show up at the bottom of your invoice and be sent to your client. And if you want to preview your invoice, this is just basically for looking at your figures. You'll press this preview button and you'll be able to see that your business name shows up here, your address, your email address for them to be able to contact you. And then this is who you're sending the invoice out to. And this is the amount that you're invoicing them for. And so this is for these treatments and things here, and it'll show the information here. And effectively your own notes have gone in the bottom. This isn't the final view of what the invoice will be like that they're going to receive, because that's been set up in the actual area on the customizing of the Stripe dashboard. But this is just an overview of the figures that you're sending out to check that your invoice amount is correct. You can download it so that you can manually send it, but if you start doing that, it won't ever show up in the invoice area, and it won't automatically be able to get reminder invoicing sent, and it won't track to your dial when your client pays your invoice. You'll need to do all of that tracking yourself. So that kind of takes away the use of Pocket PA, which is to find a really quick automated system. But as I say, you do have the option to download it and send it manually or give it to your client, and then you'll have to manage all the flow of money directly straight after that. So by pressing this send and save, this is now going to be sent directly to Susie at her email address, and by pressing that send and save, which we're going to do now, that's going to take us straight into the screen. So your invoice was successfully sent to your client, and it's going to take us back into the invoice screen to show the date of the invoice being created, everything that's been sent on the invoice, who the client is that's been sent the invoice, and how much you've invoiced them for. So £20, and it's been unpaid at the moment. It's showing here in red as unpaid. And you've got this ability here now to preview this invoice. It's been generated by Stripe, and by clicking on this link, it's going to download you an example of the invoice that the client will see, and you can click on that to be able to see all the information. So I was just explaining that the layout is slightly different in our preview, but this is the actual invoice that gets generated with this unique reference number. So the client can just copy this reference number into their browser if they don't want to press the clickable link, or you could send that specifically. It's got your phone number at the bottom so that they can ring you with any inquiries, but this is the copy of the actual invoice that they've been sent. If you've got a number of different invoices, they'll all be listed here, and they'll give you the total amount of invoices and the total unpaid amounts. And once they get paid, this will then change to green, and it will be marked straight onto your income area, and the transaction fee that's charged by Stripe will go straight onto your business expenses area. I would suggest that you look every single week, month, or if you want to have a look at all of your unpaid invoices, you go to the year view, and any which are unpaid, you just go along and you just click all of these resend to resend the invoice directly out to your clients to collect the money again. Everything can be sorted. This is your list view to show all of your invoices and the number that you want showing, and again, everything can be exported directly from here. And you'll notice now, if you go back into your dashboard area, you'll be able to see under the invoices, the purple area, you've got one invoice due out at the moment, and it totals £20. So if you've got 5 or 10 invoices showing here, and the amount is creeping up, which is due for payment, this is really important that you keep on top of this invoices, this purple area, so that you can be collecting the right amount of money when it's due. So this relates to your invoices, and if we go now into that client and have a look under the client record, you'll see under clients, under that name Susie that we just sent the invoice out to, clicking on Susie's name, you'll see that under her invoice area she's got this invoice, and again it shows as unpaid. So you can easily and quickly find underneath the invoices area this tab, because you've got 4 different tabs under each client. You can see exactly what's outstanding and what's been paid. So once Susie makes that payment, this will go to green and show as paid, and you'll be able to see that listed under payments, and it will show the payment as Stripe as an invoice being paid. Okay, so that's effectively your invoice area, and you can send as many invoices as you want, and once they get paid it will be tracked directly onto your net income dial here and increase your green area, and again straight onto your income due against the relevant time period, and again this will make your income dial go greener. So now you've got your Stripe integrated into your Pocket PA app. I'm just going to show you how to take a card payment from any of your appointments that you've got showing in your diary. It's very quick and easy just by clicking on the actual appointment, going to the details screen, and in the bottom right area you have the ability to press the add payment to this appointment. So you've got that option in the bottom to send them an invoice, but if you want to take a card payment, that's now showing up as an option for you to take a card payment because you've integrated with Stripe. You can then take a lower amount instead of like a deposit or whatever from this amount, so just reduce it down, and by clicking on the card payment button here, it will ask you to confirm that you want to go to the card checkout, because you're now going to transfer directly into the Stripe, the secure platform called Stripe, with the card checkout button. So this little logo will show that you're now connected into Stripe. It'll show your logo here, that's just the Pocket PA one because we set that up in the Stripe dashboard, but you'll have your logo showing here. It'll tell you the service that you're in, that you're taking the card payment for, and the amount that you're actually taking on the card payment. It shows you here this is all powered securely by Stripe, and it'll have an HTTPS in the very top part of your browser to show a padlock as well, that it's a secure site. It's not going to take any photograph that's going to be retained in your phone or any other method of retaining the client's card details, so that you can reassure them that you're not taking a photo of their card that you can use at a later date. It's all very specific and secure. So you'll have their email address in here for where the receipt's going to be sent, and then you'll enter the 16-digit card number into this spot here. And just to show you, you can take a Visa, a MasterCard or an American Express. So you're going to enter the card information here, their expiry date, and this CVC means this is the card reverse numbers. There's 3 digits on the back of your card, or if you're using American Express, then there's 4 digits on the front of the card that you'll enter into this area here. You want to copy the name on the card which is showing on the front of the client's card, and you'll also want to put in their postcode address here, presuming that you're in the UK. If you're in a different country, you can reselect the country of where you're based, and then all you need to do after that is just press the pay button here, and that will take that money of that £1 directly. And the email address will be sent to this client, and it will all go through straight on to your income dial, and any Stripe transaction fee that they'll be charging you will also go on to your business expenses. I also want to just show you how simple it is to take on a card payment, so I'm just going to switch now and go on to the phone version so that you can see on the phone how it works on taking a card payment on your phone. So we're going to just show you how to take a card payment from inside your phone app. So this is the mobile view of your phone, and if you scroll right down to your appointments at the bottom, and you have an appointment that you want to take a card payment for, by clicking on that appointment, you'll click on the details part, and you'll be taken directly into the appointment details for the client. Excuse me, and it's showing as £10. And going down to the bottom in that left area, you'll see that there's a button there called Add Payment. So by clicking on the Add Payment button, you'll go straight into the Add Appointment Payment screen. And by scrolling down into the middle, you'll see the amount of £10 which is due to be paid on this appointment. You can reduce the amount, for example, if you're only taking a part payment or a deposit, or you just want to have an amount that you've taken on the card there and then towards the appointment. And scrolling further down, you'll then see that there's a button called Card Payment, the 4th one down. And by clicking on that card payment, it's going to ask if you're sure that you want to go to the card checkout, because once you press the card checkout button, it's going to then take you straight away into the Stripe checkout area and connect you. So you need to have internet connection to do this. So you're going to press the card checkout. You'll see that logo connecting you straight away to the Stripe checkout screen. And at the bottom it's showing powered by Stripe, and you'll see at the top you've got a checkout.stripe.com with a secure green padlock on it. You'll see your logo at the top left, and you'll see the service and the amount underneath, how much you're going to be invoicing, taking the card payment for. You'll have the client's email address showing in here if you want to send them a receipt, or you can just type it in there and then. Or if you're in a shop or a store and the client doesn't want a receipt, you can just enter in your own shop information there for your records to have that if you want to enter the email. You'll then have the option to type in manually the card information, the number, the 16-digit number, and you'll see you've got the ability to take a Visa, a MasterCard, or an American Express card. But if you're on an iPhone, just by pressing your finger over where the 1, 2, 3, 4 starts, by putting your finger there, it will open up the option for you to scan the credit card. For the first time you do it, it might ask you if it can access your camera, because it needs to do it through the camera mode of your phone. But if you say yes, when you press the next button, this scan credit card, it's going to open the camera on your phone. And so if you just put your card underneath here and hold it over the top of your card, it's going to lift up the card details and also the date, the expiry date of the card, if the lighting is good enough. If you've got a card, if you've got a name on the card, in some instances it will also populate that if it can read it. So you might have 3 bits of information. You just want to cross-reference and check that it hasn't copied across any 8s as 3s, 3s as 8, etc., and that it's all correct. And then on the reverse of the card, you'll be able to see a number, and you'll copy that across. And if it's an American Express card, you'll have 4 digits showing on the front of the card. You then enter the client's name into the box which is saying name on card, and just copy it across directly from the credit card or the debit card, so you've got their name registered. And then you just need to, presuming that you're in the United Kingdom, or you can choose from the drop down to amend that, but you'll then need to put in the zip code or the postcode, so you'll enter that information in, and once that's all showing here, you'll see that there's like a little ripple going through the pay from time to time. That's showing that it's live and it's ready to go. You're live and ready to make that payment of £1, and you've got that secure padlock at the bottom next to that payment amount, and also it's at the top where the checkout.stripe.com is showing, to show that it's a secure site and nobody else can have access to this information. It's not being stored anywhere, so even though you might have scanned that card in, it's just for these purposes. It's not being stored on your phone, or you haven't taken a photograph of this card. So all that remains for you to do is to just press that pay button, and then once that's done, you've got that payment of £1 that will go straight into your Pocket PA app and show up on your dashboard and in your income area. And the Stripe transaction fee that's charged for this one-off card payment goes directly into your business expenses, and it will also show up under the client's name, under Susie's name, under her payments area, and against this appointment it will show the relevant payment against this appointment. So we're going to cover off online booking now, because that's a really important part for some people that have an appointment-based system and they want to use this to get their clients to book into their diary. So by clicking on the left-hand side where it says online booking, you'll come into this screen here, and there's effectively a traffic light system, and all 3 of these lines need to have a green button next to it. And we're going to guide you through making sure that they're all green quite easily, because every time you go to click the online booking button, when one of these is red, it will guide you to exactly where you need to go in order to fix it. So you can't click it on yet, because it says you've got to enter a default location first and foremost and enable the online booking button. So by pressing OK, it takes you into the locations, and you've got 2 salons listed there, and what you need to do is to make sure that this button here, the enable online booking, is switched on for at least one of them. So go to the edit button here and switch one of them on, and then press the save button. And once that's been saved successfully, you're now qualifying to be able to see that green button selected here. If you want to have 2 locations selected for your online booking, so you might work in 2 different salons for during the week, go to the second salon and you can switch that one on as well. So you would edit the button there, click on the online booking and press the save. And then once you've done that, you'll be able to see in the drop down menu, once we go into the online booking area, you'll be able to see that we've got some options for both salons for your address. So the third part is to ensure at least one day is enabled for online booking. So by clicking on this button here and pressing go to calendar and time, it will take you to the screen that needs adjusting. And this is the area on the right hand side. So you need to have at least one day enabled in order to be able to activate your online booking. Otherwise, when your clients go to make a booking, they haven't got any days available for them to book a slot in. So if, for example, you work on a Monday and a Tuesday at one salon, you'll start the online booking by clicking them on the right hand side, and then from the drop down you'll choose which salon you work at on which day. So for example, you might work at salon 1 on a Monday and also a Tuesday, and then you may be mobile on a Wednesday, and then on a Friday you might do a different salon, which is salon 2, and then you can sort of choose if you want to put salon 1 again for your Thursday, or whatever your combination is. You select it by picking the right salon. So on this basis we've got salon 1 on Mondays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So when your clients go to pick one of those days, these were the options of the days that they would get. And then you've got salon 2 showing up on a Friday. So press your save changes here. And once you've pressed that and got that successful message, if you go back into the online booking, you'll see you've got 3 now green traffic lights to go to be able to enable you to say that your settings are all saved successfully. So what you want to do is you need to decide where you're going to be putting your link for your online booking, and you've got the option to add it in to copy this link to your social media pages, so Facebook or Instagram. You can add a link to your website, so you can copy this code in showing at the bottom. And once you've decided where you're actually setting it up, there's a third tab here for your online booking settings. So the first thing that we're going to do is go to this tab here to determine how far in advance you want your bookings to show if you've got availability. So if you want to have a last minute option for your clients to book up to 1 hour ahead, you would select the 1 hour option. If you want to have at least 6 hours before anyone gets access to your diary for any last minute slots, you'll choose the later one. And then the bottom one here is where you actually choose how far ahead you want to open up your diary. So if it's selected on 1 month, it means you're running quite a tight ship and you're only going to show clients your availability in the next 4 weeks and a month. If you want to open your diary up for much longer, and you might perhaps want 3 months or 4 or 5 or 6, then you'll choose the relevant months in this setting here. So let's put in 2 months here, and we've got these 2 settings now set. And then you've got the option here to add in any information that you want to have included in the online booking confirmation email, which gets sent to your clients once they've successfully booked. So if you have a cancellation policy, or you want to put in here a link to your terms and conditions, or to let them know that once the booking's made you'll call them up to take a deposit, or anything like that, you can enter that message directly into this area here, and then once it gets saved, that will be automatically populated into your email messages that you're going to be sending out. So you'll click that button there. And then the next thing that you're going to do is to go back in to actually copy and paste the social media link into one of your buttons. So if you're going to do it on Facebook, you're going to add it to the Book Now button. And if you're going to add it to your Instagram page, it's going to need to go into the area where you put a link to your website. It will need to replace that link to your website, and I know some people like to have a link to their website and to have a Book Now button. So if you want to do that, you might want to explore something called Linktree, because I know Linktree allows you to have more than one destination out from your Instagram profile page if you actually set that up. So you might want to explore that if you want to have your website link in your bio, and also to have your booking button. So the first thing that we're going to do is to copy this link to your clipboard. So just by pressing this copy link, you've now copied this line of code here. So that's all of this stuff here. That's all been copied straight to your your clipboard, that's the word, and you're now going to open up in another browser, and we're going to add that link into your Facebook Book Now button. And you'll see on the right hand side underneath your main profile picture there's a button here called Add a Button. So if you click on that Add a Button, you'll be taken into this preview screen, and the bottom option there says Link to Website. So you're going to click that, and it's going to ask you to enter in the code that you've copied already from the online booking area. So by pasting that in, that'll be your Pocket PA unique ID for your online booking. And you press that Save button here, and you've now got your Book Now button here configured for this this link URL. And then you just press that Finish button, and then that's your Book Now button all set up. So you'll see now when your users go to press the Book Now, this is what will happen. So we'll go through a test scenario just to show you what will happen. They'll get opened up on a screen, and the first thing that they'll see is the Step 1 area where they're invited. Just giving it a moment, we've got a bit of a slow internet connection here. They'll be invited to choose which service they want from your list of services that you've already got entered. So you've got your company name here at the top, British Airways online booking appointment area. And the first stage is for them to select the service. So all of the services that you've got listed under your services will show up here. And it gives the length of time that they are and the actual price band here. So for example, if they would like a haircut, they'll now click on the haircut, and that's been selected. And the next appointment time that they've got, there are no appointments on the next Friday, which was the next day after today that they had available in the online booking. So there'll now be a diary option on the top right hand area, and what they'll need to do is to go through, and you can see that Mondays and Tuesdays are showing up, Wednesdays are blanked out, Thursdays and Fridays, because we set the calendar for the online booking so that you would be at Salon 1 on Mondays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Salon 2 on a Friday. So if you then look into March, and you'll see again that same pattern is available for appointments on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Friday, and then we opened up the diary up to 2 months in advance, so it's showing at the moment until the end of April. So let's go back in here and say, for example, they'd like to book an appointment on Monday the 2nd. By clicking on there, it will show all of the appointment times that you have available that could take that 1 hour slot for the haircut. So for example, if you choose that 12 midday, this is the client choosing their appointment, they have the option to enter either their email or their phone number. And if they want to go in here and just enter their mobile number in here rather than their email, they can just add it into this box here. And when they submit this, if they're a new client, it will invite them to add their email address and their name. But if it's an existing client, the app should recognise them and say, great, glad to see that you're back. And then it will go in, and it's already pre-populated their first and last name and their email address. It already knows that this is their phone number, and it's then confirming the booking on the right hand side. So there's a service of a haircut on Monday the 2nd of March at midday, 12 o'clock. It gives the location that you've got, that's your Salon 1, and then it tells you the cost is £25 and it's a 1 hour appointment. So this is on stage 4 of the booking. And they've got the option here to be able to write some booking notes, and so if they want to write a little message here, they could put something like looking forwards to seeing you. And then all they need to do there is just press this confirm button, and on doing so they will have an email sent to their email address that's entered here confirming all of the booking information. And you will also, as the user of the Pocket PA app, get an email confirmation telling you that Jane Smith has booked this appointment on this date, etc. And that will all be sent to your email address, and that will have that confirmation. And it will also be notified in your little notification bell in the top right hand area of your dashboard as well. So pressing that confirm button gives you the option to book another appointment here. It tells you that you successfully created that online booking, and then you can either close here, book another appointment, or you can press this start again. So closing here, that completes the process, and that just shows that your button is all working for your book now. So that's where you're at with your online booking, and it's as simple as that, really. If you want to do a website link and you want to send this code to your developer to embed into your website, depending on the color scheme of your website, if you've got a pink website or you want to have a pink book now button, this will give you a preview of what your button would look like, and you can customize your text. So you might want to type something else in here, book Jane now, or something like that, whatever you want to write in here. And once you've selected that, you just copy this code here at the bottom, or you press this button here, copy to clipboard, and you send that to your developer, and they can embed that into your website, or you could put the button underneath your emails or anywhere you want, and then that will give your clients access to be able to get to your book now button directly, and it will be the same procedure as before that we've just gone through, and they'll be given that 4-step process to make an online booking with you. So just to confirm, once you've got an online booking, it'll show up here in your notification area, here under the activity feed. So you can see that Jane Smith, that's her phone number, she's booked a haircut, and her notes there, looking forward to seeing you. That's all showing up here in your activity feed, as well as an email having been sent to you directly into your inbox. So I think we've pretty much covered most of the areas on this left-hand side relating to the app, but just wanted to cover off a couple of things on this top area. So you've got these 3 little lines here called a burger bar, and this will expand or contract the left-hand dashboard menu. So that might be helpful if you haven't got much space on your computer screen and you want to just minimize that left-hand menu. You've also got a button at the top left here called your next appointment, and this is a really handy little button to press and click down on to see your very next appointment coming up. If you've got to the end and you haven't got any future appointments, it will say that, but all of your other appointments will show, and you can just scroll backwards and forwards through them, and it's a very quick way for you to be able to click on the details button, to be able to update the status of an appointment, to be able to see if they've paid or unpaid, or if there's a part payment, how long your appointment is, to send an invoice directly once you're set up with Stripe, to get directions on Google Maps or Waze if you're on your phone, because that will connect directly, or to add a payment straight into that payment screen. So you've got all of that showing on your next appointment button, which is just on this drop down here, to scroll backwards and forwards through your appointments here. So this will then show you how long you've got left of your trial plan, your free 30 days, or if you're on a monthly or an annual plan, how long before that expires, and that will show in green. Once your trial plan finishes and it gets to 0, or your monthly or annual subscription finishes, this will change to orange, and you won't be able to add or do anything in the app other than just read only. You can't export anything or add or delete or edit anything, and that will show up here for you with an orange area to remind you. This is just for you to add a promo code in if you have that on any monthly or annual subscription plan that you've been offered. This is to do with a live chat, and this will basically mean that you can type in any questions or queries that you've got that haven't been answered in our FAQ or tutorial area, and we can try and help you with that, or raise a ticket if it's something more detailed or you're having a problem. You've got a button here for you to be able to search anything, and you can just type in here a client's name or an amount or to do with a service, and hopefully it will find it under the search anything button. Up here is our plus button, the quick and easy fast way for you to be able to add your product sales, service clients, appointments, payments, billings, accounts, etc. from this plus button. And then you've got a little bell here which will give an activity feed on the left, or on the news feed on the right, which will be from Pocket PA. So the activity feed will have things in it like if you've had an invoice that's been paid, and that will show up under here. If you've had an online booking, that will also show up under here, so that you've got quick access to be able to contact that client and know about it. If you've imported clients in through your contacts of your phone app, your helper app, then that will show whether that's been successfully achieved here. So this button will have a little orange sort of dot on it once you've got anything, a new updated notification. On the right hand side, under where you've got your logo, you've also got quick access to your account setup and and support, or you can log out of the app as well from the top right hand corner. So I think that just about wraps up everything on your Pocket PA app. I hope you've been able to find this useful. We have got further tutorials where each area is broken down in our help section, and you can always contact us on help@pocketpa.com if you need to directly email us, or we've got social media, Instagram and Facebook. We'd love you to follow us and keep up to date and be part of our community. So you'll find us on Instagram or Facebook under @PocketPA Mobile. So just come and join and follow us, and it would be lovely for us to connect there. So great, good luck with Pocket PA.